Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of our day number 1, week number 2 of the Call of Duty 2021 Challengers Elite Series. I am Spaceman, that is Fox and Alley, and this means it's time for North America. We have concluded our European side of day 1. Now we got North America. Interesting storylines here. We'll get into that. And tomorrow, same schedule, Europe first, and then domestic turf. But for now, here's kind of the situation. So we know that there is a big winter storm currently happening in Texas, and it also happens that a lot of our players tend to be in Texas, so we will keep you guys updated with what the matches will be and the schedule will look like, but we're still on track for everything to be standard. Here is the standings, and here is how all the teams have found themselves 2 weeks into our Elite Series. Subliners Academy and Wester 1 and 2 respectively argued could be flipped or flopped. Doesn't matter if they're 4-0, that's good enough. All the way down to Maki Maki and Mr. Midmaps 7th through 8th. Those are going to be relegated teams if they don't turn something around today, and Maki Maki and Mr. Midmaps are actually going to be our first series we see for North America. But you see UT Crew, Team Z, and higher 3rd through 4th. Remember, teams 3 through 6 have to play in a single elimination playoff bracket, and they're all trying to qualify for that. The top 2 teams will just relegate for Season 2. So we'll see them down the line, but for now, we sit in an interesting spot because Mr. Midmaps and Maki Maki, 2 teams that have unbelievable rosters, but also are unbelievably struggling at Cold War, and they cannot find a way to win. I'm going to start with Fox. First of all, welcome back. Missed you. How you doing? Thanks. I want to know from you, Maki Maki, look at this roster across the board. Sib sells Jimbo and Hollow. Sib is a sub spot on Atlanta FaZe currently. He is on their roster. He has proven last year that he is as good as we hyped him up to be. This team has won, four map wins, something like that. They are struggling. Fox, talk to me. What is it about this team that's not clicking? While we get Fox all situated, Allie, I want to know, look, you know a lot about, we're going to switch from Maki Maki, talk about Mr. Midmaps. This team specifically, Draza, Fellow, Decimate, and Nagafen, all right? Nagafen, we know what he was capable of. We've seen him be a pro for years. We know what Fellow did last season, walked away as a champion with Triumph and had Standy on that roster. I believe Diamond Con some did for the last 2 events. He walks away with a chip. Now Diamond Con's on New York. Fellow gets picked up by Dallas as a sub. Fellow, Decimate, Draza, and Nagafen, like former pros and current pros on this roster, and they've won one single map. Talk to me. What is it? Just like a team issue? Is it a chemistry thing? Are they off on a bad start? What are you seeing?
So, I mean, I will bring it up that the one map they did win was off of Wester, which is arguably one of our top teams right now. So, a little glimmer of hope there, if I dare say so. But I feel like with this team, the reason why I feel like they don't mesh together very well. I feel like singularly, they are all very good, talented individual players, but I just feel like the dynamic isn't there. I feel like this isn't a team that I would put together on paper if I was given a list of top amateurs right now or former pros. It's just not one of the first guesses that I would put together, if that makes any sense. So I feel like individually, they have talent, the talent's there, but we might need to see some roster changes.
Allie, I do like what you said a lot. You said, they're all individually talented, but together, maybe not so much. I like that idea because we've seen that in every single esport. Get a group of 4 or 5 together, super individually talented, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Fox, for Maki Maki, is it a similar situation? You have all these young guns, all these super uber talented individual players on one team. They're just not working. Is that kind of what's happening here?
I mean, yeah, in Space, you said it best. Just for seemingly no reason, we're not seeing these guys click when they're all together. Yeah. They have everything in their corner, but when it comes to actually playing these official matches, being live streamed and being, put into that tense moment, we're not seeing them deliver.
Yeah, and again, it's been disappointing for, I think, a lot of viewers, myself included, who big fan of all these players, but just not seeing them actually do what they need to do to win. Speaking of which, let's take a look at what we need to look at. The schedule's coming up, and these are the matches tonight. We got Maki Maki and Mr. Midmaps coming up first, followed by Subliners Academy and Mr. Midmaps. So we're going to see that team twice, and again, we're moving the schedule around just a little bit because there are still some issues with people currently in Texas under that winter advisory. So stay safe, stay warm. We hope they get everything fixed by tomorrow. But we saw the conclusion of Train Hard. They won against Connect 4-3-0. Singularity sweep through 3G in a very interesting raid control in Game 3. But Mr. Midmaps have basically 2 shots right now. They have 2 big opportunities on this mainstream to show us that they can turn the ball around. And I just feel like this if you needed to fight for a chance to not be relegated, this is the time. But unfortunately, their second matchup is against New York Subliners Academy, which outside of Wester is the number 1 team in the league. They're the number 1 team by far. So I'm going to start with you, Allie. Do you think they have what it takes? Do you think they can do it? Can they take down the best team in this bracket?
I feel like at this point it actually will all depend on the series because they do have to go back to back. If they end up losing to Maki Maki, I don't see any hope for them in the following series because they had already lost and they already know they're going against such a top team. Yes, they are veterans and they are former pros on this team who you would think would be able to keep composure, but I feel like when you're already that down, it'll be much, much harder to get back up. However, should they win against Maki Maki or at least take a few maps off the young guns, they would probably feel a lot more confident going into the match against the New York Subliners Academy team.
And Fox, I'm going to extend an olive branch here, and if you think that it's just off base, you go ahead and you just chop it down. But here's my question to you. Looking at Mr. Midmaps, 4 individually talented players, no question. Like players that can take over a map any day of the week. You could just say, here, take me to the promised land. They'd probably do it. Together as a roster, not so great. But when they play the best team in North America, do you think there's any realm of possibility where they just say, screw the playbook, screw trying to play the game correctly, let's just try to be individually gifted and gods on the map and see if we can just win that way? Do you think that's a reality?
Hey, if that's the Hail Mary they need, that's what they got to go for. I mean, I would myself would be entirely intimidated going up against a roster like that, right? The competition's stiff right now, and tonight you got to fire off on all cylinders.
Yeah, backs against the wall. You got nothing to lose. You already basically have won 1 map. It's only up from here, but guess what? The maps are also coming up next, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at because we got Crossroads, Miami, Checkmate, Garrison, and Moscow. 1 individual map for each game type. I like the choices here, folks, but for Maki Maki and Mr. Mid Maps, again, teams that have strong sub-presences, I do worry about a map like Garrison, a map like Checkmate, because it is pretty dominated. When you're talking about caution, when you're talking about backup playing, you need to be able to have a player with an XM4 or a Krieg to be able to actually get you in a position to win. But quickly, I want to get your guys' opinions. Fox, starting with you, how do you see this series going?
We get each map a piece. Like you said, starting off on Crossroads, Hardpoint. I think that Hardpoint is going to be very telling of the tone for this series, right? If we see them come out hot in this first Hardpoint, I think they'll follow it up in the Search and Destroy and Control as well.
Allie, same to you.
Looking at this, I love that we have such a diverse map pool. I feel like that's something we have yet to see today. We've got a lot of double ups, and we'll have Crossroads for the first time today. For Crossroads, I'm looking a little bit towards the side of mid maps just because it's a much more open map. I'm honestly expecting a lot out of Decimate on this map. Going into Search and Destroy, I feel like, with the young guns on Maki Maki, both S&Ds will probably go more in their favor as they are S&D stars, as we do call it. So I feel like this should be a very interesting series we got going on here.
Yeah, this one is kind of catching my eye, at least for the Hardpoint wise, because Crossroads is chaotic. There's no other way to talk about it, and your subs can have a field day. More importantly, the most seasoned veterans, and I'm use that word lightly because the players like that who can be in those chaotic situations, find a kill or 2 and stay alive for the rest of the team. You're looking at people like Fellow, you're looking at people like Sib. That's going to be the crux of either side's victory in this first Hardpoint. We know what Cells and Hollow can do. Former UYU, I believe they teamed with Jintroid when they won like a chip or 2 back last season, but that also is going to need to be a duo. I need Cells and Hollow to work together the same way Jimbo and Sib do. They need to be able to carry the load when it comes to moving and transitioning towards the next hill, and especially down lower Annex, where the subs are going to be so vital to that hill's time. Now we look at Miami. Miami, again, is one of the weirder S&Ds in this game. I feel like it's a throw up for a lot of teams. I would probably favor Mr. Midmaps in this at least specific map, but then we go right to Checkmate, which we know defense on Checkmate is pretty easy because the offense having to move for 1 point, I believe it's on B. It's kind of difficult, guys. It's pretty hard to be able to capture B on Checkmate. Fox, what are you seeing out of at least team composition as they approach controls this year? But what are you seeing just out of the difficulty of Checkmate Control?
got to have powerful submachine guns. You got to be able to stay in that fight. Middle map is so crucial, and you'll see any of the players that gravitate towards that part of the map have high engagement matches.
And Allie, we have to look at, Garrison being map number 4 for Hardpoint, Moscow, a decisive if necessary game 5. I do feel like we might go the distance, but there's a lot on the line for both these teams, right? They're sitting 7th and 8th respectively. Whoever loses this is almost guaranteed, no question, going to be relegated out, and they'll have to try to work their way back in next season. But there's a lot on the line, I also think, just for morale, because this is a big year, 44 returns. There's a lot expected from a lot of these players, and while if you do get bumped out and hey, you're on a sub spot, you don't have to worry too much. There are players like Sib and Cells and Jimbo who, they're not necessarily guaranteed that next step. Sib, yes, is a sub on Atlanta, but the other players, this is a big tournament. You have to fight your way back in the next couple of weeks or months. Do you think that pressure is going to get to any of these players?
I don't believe it's so much as the pressure, but it makes you wonder if maybe the pace change from 5v5, where these kids really made their names, is kind of throwing them off a little bit going into Cold War, going into 4v4. So I kind of was wondering if maybe that's throwing their pacing off, as they're usually such fast players. They're used to high engagement games. But then I look at maps like Crossroads and Garrison, they're smaller maps, and on paper, I would put Maki winning it 10 times over. But that's not what they've been showing us. So already, sure, I feel like this series is going to be completely full of surprises. But you can also look on the side of min maps. Going back into 4v4, you think a lot of these players would be falling back into their old ways. A lot of them grew up on 4v4. So you feel like it can go either way, throwing either team off their pacing.
Yeah, I feel like there is a side to each coin, right? We have one side that has thrived in the chaos, and you start to see that top level. Look at someone like a Beezy, who had a breakout year in Black Ops 4, wins the whole thing, plays 5v5 for 2.5 years, and now he's thriving on 4v4, knows how to control the chaos. And you look at players like Sib and Cells and Jimbo, who have been through the ringer for about 2 years now, going through 5v5, and they thrived in that chaos. They were able to compete, able to be at the top of the game. Maybe it's just an adjustment period. Maybe coming down and realizing you have to slow your gameplay down just a bit is something that they weren't expecting. But if there is any team, if there are any players that had the ability to fix those mistakes, to have the raw talent to become a pro one day and continue to develop and be better players, it is people on Maki. It is players on Mr. Mid-Map. So there's a lot on the line. There's a lot going into this series. It is a relegation essentially series, because whoever loses this is guaranteed to not really make it towards 3rd or 6th place. So there's a lot to be questioned about, a lot to be desired. And with Crossroads, Miami, and Checkmate, our first 3 maps, and again, Garrison Hardpoint at 4th, and Moscow S&D at 5th, I feel like this series will come down a lot to the respawns. The S&Ds could be pretty much thrown up in the air. Miami, who knows? Moscow, you're favoring your ARs on that one, but still, both these teams struggling. Mr. Mid-Map's only won 1 map so far. Maki, barely in that same conversation. Series prediction, guys. We're just going to go ahead and try to get that out of the way. I don't really have one. I feel like it's going to be back and forth. But Fox, talk to me. What are you thinking, and how long do you think the series is going to go?
All right, look, I'm going to go mid-maps 3-1.
Okay.
Mid-maps 3-1 this series. You can fight me on that one.
Which map you think they're losing?
Okay. I think I see them taking the hard point, the S&D. I see them dropping the control and then closing it out.
Allie, what are you thinking?
I like that. You know what? I'm very back and forth. I agree with you, Spaceman, but I feel like Crossroads for me is probably going to be pretty decisive, because I think if Maki comes out incredibly hot and kind of shuts down mid-maps, I feel like they can run the series. But should they not, then it's a lot more of a toss-up in my head, and I can't pick a favorite.
Here's what I will say, especially looking at last year. When you put Fellow in a situation where he has to play close quarters and survive, Fellow usually does that. Like, I'm looking at Ramaza, I'm looking at a bunch of different situations last year, even in Final Hill P5 on St. Petro. Fellow found a way to just find 2 or 3 kills consistently. Crossroads is one of those maps where I think Fellow's going to thrive. I think that he's going to be the X factor. I think he's going to be able to help his team take the win. Does that mean it's going to translate to S&D? No, but I think that momentum might carry them through the series. And after hearing both your guys' predictions. I think I got to take Mr. Midmaps in this one. I know they have yet to win a series, but I think they're going to do it. With that said, we thank you for tuning in. More importantly, it's time to hop into the game. The series is starting, and that means we say adieu and bye to our best friend Fox, and me and Allie will be taking you through the call. It's Maki Maki. It's Mr. Midmaps. A best of 5. You guys know the deal, but both these teams close to being relegated out. This is a very big series. Allie, what's the key for Crossroads? What is the number one thing either side has to do to gain control?
Rotation. And Crossroads is so back and forth that, some of the final hills is all about rotation, and we're already jumping right into it as Mr. Midmaps has the first couple of seconds on P1, and you're already seeing such an early rotation out of Maki Maki to try and get spawns for that P2 hill.
Remember, we set up for lower annex next, so you got to find those opening kills where you can. Draws is going to be able to pick up one, so one will drop. Sib at the back line, ready and waiting. He'll find the kill. Trades start to funnel in, but hey, guess what? 26 seconds and counting. Close to 30, 15 to fight over. Now here comes the rotations. Look at your mini-map. Everyone's spread out. One big kill from Decimate. Another one up there. He's reloading, going to get caught with his hands in his pockets, but for now, they might be able to get their reinforcements back over to that P2 side. And as lower annex begins to pop, you're looking at Fellow for a big first kill. He's going to do it. He will get dropped, but Decimate is there.
Maki Maki had that early rotations, but at what cost? Well, 41 seconds in P1 and still ending up to lose spawns, so is a huge play of catch-up now outside of Maki Maki. A little bit of a slow start on the side of Jimbo, 2 and 5. Maki Maki have yet to touch the hill as Fellow is already ready for them to spawn in the back. Sib is all by himself, unable to move or do anything, and his team is getting spawn killed by Draza, let alone having spawns, and you don't even have the next ones. Mr. Midmaps absolutely making work of Maki Maki currently.
Drowsy casually has 10 kills, and by the way, we're going to set up for munitions. We got 20 seconds left, Allie, and the problem is that you only got 6 points, so we're going to set up for the next rotations. We're going to move over to munitions, and guess what? 2 numbers bottom side of your minimap is Mr. Midmaps trying to get in position. They will get cut down. Fellow and Decimate combining for 2. Who's going to be the first members up? Well, it looks like Maki Maki might have reinforcements. They need to find the appropriate kills to go with it. Cells finds 1. Fellow finds the trade. Back and forth we go in the kill feed, and here comes Jimbo. He's going to set up inside fire, but gets taken down. Hollow with a 2-piece, and they're going to have early time.
Slippery Jimbo getting those spawns into the back of ice. And now finally we see some control out of Maki Maki. And we're seeing our subs slay out a little bit like expected. But again, they have a big game of catch-up to play, which they could do on these next 2 hills. But Draza has something to say about it as he flips spawns by coming from street. Number 8, Naga has to play his life in the back. They want to steal these spawns. He's not able to and gets taken down. And nobody's getting time out of the hill right now. It is a stalemate. Nobody is inside. So that means Maki Maki is still down 20 points. They were able to get spawns soon.
That is the beauty of Crossroads. You have to fight over scrap time with how chaotic this opening entry can be. You break in, you got 30 seconds to fight over, but Mr. Midmaps are spawning pretty close. Beat down, that's cool. 2 kills in the kill feed. Sib unfortunately gets team killed, but hey, Hollow picks up 2. Now we set up for munitions. We're going to rotate through fire. Cells on the screen, finds 1. Can he find a second? Yeah, he can. Draza, we'll see you later. That's 2 kills for Cells. Trophy down. And watch those utilities starting to fly on over. It's only basically a 22-point game. At some point, you're going to start to see the tides turn, and Maki Maki are set up in a good position to rally in some points. Another kill for Cells on a 3 spree. Has to stay alive for his team.
Finally seeing some control out of Maki Maki, but Mr. Midmaps is not trying to let them have it for long as they are keeping them out of the hill currently. Once again, nobody is in the hill. This is a 20-point game. Draws making an absolute wreck in their spawn. They're able to spawn out Maki Maki, so what looked like was a fantastic hold. Midmaps able to flood in through tank side and absolutely break them. We need to see a little bit more out of Maki Maki coming into this next rotation, and they need to start warming up soon before Midmaps starts running with it.
Saw a streak come in, but it doesn't connect. 15 and 8 for Sib, off to a great start. Draza as well, 16 and 12. Can't say enough about this young kid. The year he had last year was so impressive with Optic Gaming LA. Then he decides, you know what, we got to figure out a different rhythm to this career. Instead, they go a different route. He says, that's fine with me. I'm going to hop down here to the Challenger Series, and I'm going to put on a show. 16 and 13. Jimbo, again, getting himself involved in the feed. P1 is popped, 48 seconds to go. Still about a 30-point game. Mr. Midmaps in full control for the moment. Fellow on your screen, can't find the third. Sib will cut him down, beat down by Draza. There's the kill, 18 and 13, and he's going to sit near the hill. 37 seconds to go. Allie, again, we've got a look at lower annex. Who's going to be there for the first rotation? It looks like Mr. Midmaps might have control, but it's all up to Draza if he can find that next kill.
I want to see a couple more trades go through on the side of Maki Maki. Doesn't look like they're playing for each other as well as I'd like to see them. They've lost spawns. They lost most of the time in the P1 already. And mid-maps, again, I mean, they are running with it. They have a 50-point lead right now. Naga is only 9-14. I mean, with him doing so slow, you would expect Maki Maki to take advantage of this, but I've yet to see that as we already see Fellow and Draza set up, already waiting for the rotation out of Maki Maki. They need to stop playing for the scrap time and start getting these early rotations and spawns down if they have any hope coming back into this game.
And this is the second rotation where for now Mr. Mid-Maps have had control of the lower annex, and Nagafen 12 and 15, not horrible because he can just sit in the hill and get all the time. So he's going to find one. He will pick up the kill. On the other side, I believe that is Nagafen who gets shut down. Yeah, no chance. Hollow with the challenge. Almost looked good, but two will fall. Decimate with the two-piece. Cells finds one. The double kill works just enough to clear out members outside of the hill. Maki Maki can't come in and touch. Decimate with one kill in the beatdown. Nades there. We'll see you later. 131-59. You're getting close to that 100-point mark where Mr. Mid-Maps are going to be in the runaway with this game, and I feel like these close quarter fights really do favor Decimate and Fellow. Decimate 22 and 15. Now we take a look at P3. We take a look at the rotations to fire. Who's going to be set up first? It is Sib on your screen with a two-piece, and Maki Maki are set up, but how long can they hold it? That is the million-dollar question.
Absolutely, and Sib really needed to play his life and tank there because now you've left Hollow by himself in hill. His teammate gets taken down top. I mean, and just like that, they were broken within seconds of that hill pop. We needed to see Maki Maki play a little bit closer to each other. Again, it just feels like I'm watching singular players on the map rather than a team. Mid-maps looking to make mess in the spawn. They're probably going to flip them out once more. Jimbo spawning out at old. Mid-maps are just absolutely running through Maki Maki right now.
And they didn't really get a far spawn, but on this map, I mean, every second you waste trying to retrack back, it's going to be impossible to come back from. And you see how easy the retake was for Mr. Mid-Maps. A couple of kills from Decimate, and the entire hardpoint opens up. Now you're trying to funnel reinforcements through the back, but they keep getting shut down. Draza and Nagafen combining for a double kill. Draza with two. That's three in the feed, and that's all dead. Mr. Mid-Maps have complete control. 198 and counting. We will cross the 200-point mark. Congratulations. 10 seconds to go. We look at rotations. Guess who's set up first? Mr. Mid-Maps have complete control of this game one hardpoint, and they will be able to close out on this next hill if they get the kills.
Watching mid-maps does not make me feel like I'm watching an 0-4 team. They're playing together so incredibly well. They're flipping out spawns. They're breaking the hills. I mean, this is not the team I thought we were going to be watching today. And Maki Maki, again, they just, I mean, they're sliding in one by one. There goes Jimbo sliding in by himself. No trades go through. He gets taken down. And again, spawns all the way across the map. And they are just not waiting for each other.
15 and 29 for Jimbo. Cells 19 and 23. Hollow, not great. Sib, the closest you're going to get to perfect, 20 and 22. But look at the disparity in the objective. The hill time, only 27 seconds for Jimbo, and he's double negative. You look at Nagafen, 18 and 16, a minute 17 to go. And with 229, they're just going to rotate, and this is playing with house money. You're up 230 to 63. There's really not much more you could ask for. You can play scrap time and win this game. For Maki Maki, Ali, you got to play perfect hardpoint if you want any chance, and I feel like it might be too close to done.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I mean, you look on the side of mid-maps. I mean, playing positive across the board. Mid-maps playing slow. They already broke P1 once again. What looked like a perfect setup out of Maki Maki. I mean, they just got picked apart by Draza and Fellow. You hear streaks coming in, and mid-maps end up closing out first map 250 to 67. Spaceman.
Yeah, that was what we like to call pain. That was a blowout. I don't think we expected to be that much of a one-way street, but okay, Mr. Mid-Maps just come in. They ripped Maki Maki off each hardpoint. How many times did Maki Maki set up first? They had the rotation, and they just were unable to hold. It's not like a situation where you look at Atlanta FaZe and you say, okay, they can't hold off the start, but they break better than any team when they get the remaining time, so that's why they win hardpoints. This was, you have 10 seconds to go, and you hold the first 10 seconds, and then you just get smoked. You can't win a gunfight. Mr. Mid-Maps, Ali, I know it's a chaotic map. I know that so far this series has been very one-sided, but just looking at how that hardpoint played out, am I missing something here, or did it just seem like even on rotations where they won, they just weren't winning the gunfights?
No, I completely agree. And it felt like Maki just, I mean, slid in one by one. I just felt like I saw one person go in, boom, down, you're spawning across the map. Spawns are so important on Crossroads, and it just seemed that never got taken advantage of on the side of Maki. And they got broken so easy by mid-maps when they looked like they had the perfect setup. It was just really heartbreaking to see, and it makes me wonder, maybe Maki is just missing that kind of veteran leadership on their squad. I mean, they are a bunch of young guns, so maybe they're just missing the likes of somebody like Fellow or like Nagafen, you know, to lead them into going into 4v4.
Yeah, definitely. And let's take a look at some of the replays from map 1, because maybe that can give us some insight into exactly what didn't work out, because I said Fellow's going to have a big map, surely, but it was really Decimate with clutch after impressive 2 pieces, 3 pieces, finding a ways to break the hill, and that was so big, is that Mr. Midmaps didn't waste time. They got in, they found the kills, they moved out. Sib did all he could. They started off pretty strong, and it was 40-72. That's a respectable, easy to come back from scoreline. And then after that, they scored essentially 20 points on 3 minutes of hill time. They were not able to get anywhere near it. And you see it, Draza finding ways to get clutch kill after clutch kill, taking down Hollow, continuing to stay in the hard point. Cells was able to pick up 2 on this play, but he gets cut down, and they couldn't get near the hill once they got it broken, Allie. It seemed like once they were set up and they got broken, they couldn't get anywhere near back to the same hard point, and they kept losing that initial battle. For someone who's been a competitor, for you, and knowing, before we get into game 2, for knowing what, you know, how important it is to take out players in the next hill, when you have that rhythm as a team, when you know that you can break a hill after you've lost rotation and hold on to the time and the other team gets nowhere near you, what does that do for your confidence throughout the rest of the series, knowing you're gunning everyone like that?
I can only imagine the comms on the side of Mr. Midnaps. I'm sure they were all laughing. I highly doubt they were taking it that serious at some point once they realized they had broken over 150 point lead, and their confidence going into the rest of the maps is probably sky high. Now, we are going into S&D, and I want to lean towards Maki just a little bit, because from what I said about mid-maps, how I said, you know, maybe they're all individually talented players and not meshing together, I feel like now that almost applies to Maki. They're all very talented individual young players that just have no leadership. They have no direction.
Now, I will say this. I know we made fun of games. We made jokes in the pregame about the fact that Mr. Midmaps have to play New York Subliners Academy after this, and that's hilarious, except for the fact that right now, they look really, really good. And again, game 1 bias, it's never going to be the standard for a series unless it's a complete blowout like that was. But let's take a look at the maps for the rest of the series, and let's also remind you that Mr. Midmaps, there's a lot on the line here for Maki as well, but Mr. Midmaps have won 1 map, so they've already doubled their entire lead after that Crossroads. Now we come into Miami, which is much slower because the map is so large, but you're talking about controlling visitors area. You're talking about controlling the beach, putting the bomb down, and getting an AR over you. You're talking about having your subs in back alley, getting those entries to open up the site. What is it going to take for Maki? Do they need to slow it down on Miami, or do you think they need to up the pressure and get in the face of Mr. Midmaps to kind of restabilize the series?
I definitely expect them to up the pressure. I expect Maki to be flooding Garage every single round. And on the side of mid-maps, I feel like I'm looking at Decimate to really be a deciding factor when it comes into S&D. I know he really blew up in the hardpoint as well. And we were looking at Fellow more so on the side of mid-maps, but I'm looking at Decimate going to Miami as well as an S&D player. So again, I'm favoring Maki, but after the mid-maps I just saw, I am second-guessing myself across the board.
You know, I like that idea, right? Decimate needs to kind of continue that same success from the hard point, but I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to say that Nagafen, we know him for his S&D. I mean, look at how he terrorized the Pro League during Black Ops 3. Look what he was able to do last year. Nagafen is one of the smartest S&D players to ever breathe air on this planet, and I think that if they want success this year, if Mr. Midmaps want to stick together as a group of 4 and they want to have the success that we know Fellow is accustomed to, Nagafen has to be that guy. He has to continue to find his rhythm and respawns, and he has to hard carry to some extent in S&D. Just be a factor all the time so, you know, your team isn't wondering, hey, is Nagafen going to step up? When Nagafen plays S&D well, it's almost impossible to beat any team he's on. So I'm looking at him for Miami. If he has a good game, I expect him to go up 2-0. But for Maki, I think you just got to slow the game down. Game 1 was a blur. That map favors people like Fellow, people like Decimate, people like Draza. Now we look at S&D superstars, Sib and Cells. We look at both of you and we say, You need to have an excellent game, and someone's got to be an IGL. I agree with you 100%, Allie. Sometimes all it takes is one veteran presence, but with such a young team, you need someone to be that IGL. Sib and Jimbo have had experience on Atlanta FaZe Academy before, and Sib a lot of the times was an IGL in specific moments, but they kind of had this, unspoken chemistry where we don't talk a whole lot, but we will find the kills necessary. This is different this year. It's 4v4. You don't have that luxury. Sib needs to at least be that IGL for this team, I believe. But for you, is there one key standout on Maki Maki that you're looking at and saying, nah, this person's got to be the standout?
The standout, and not even if anything, because they're such young players, I almost feel like there would be kind of a power dynamic where they don't want to be telling each other what to do all the time, or have one person telling them what to do, because they're so close in age, and they don't have kind of like anybody to be like, hey, I've been a former pro player for this long, or I've played much longer than you, so you should listen to me. They don't have that dynamic on this team. So if anything, if this team is going to stick together and try to find success, I feel like it's just going to be out of repetition for them. I feel like they will start having a slow start together, but once they fall into each other and start building that chemistry up and learning each other's play styles, I feel like we'll see a much different Maki Maki coming in later games.
When Wester's roster got announced at the start of this year, and I spoke with Phoenix, and once they got announced, I DM'd him and I was like, hey, what was the decision for this or that? Like, why did you pick specific players, and how do you feel about the team? He was like, we feel good. We feel like we have probably the best group of 4 on the planet. We feel confident. We're going to work really hard to try to be at the top every season, but we feel good. And as soon as the team was announced for Western, my first instinct was, where's Sib? Where did Sib go? What team is he on now? And I saw him. It was Sib, Cells, Hollow, and Jimbo. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a team that could be top 4. This is a team that could compete with Western. They might not have, maybe the level of experience, but you have Jimbo and Sib, who are a duo on Atlanta FaZe Academy, and you have Cells and Hollow, who won with UIU. And I was like, this is a good team. I didn't expect him to be this unfortunate. I didn't expect him to not do as well. Let's get into game 2 in S&D on Miami. But especially coming into an S&D on a map like Miami, I expect this to be their Winehouse. This is their bread and butter. This is where they should absolutely step up and even the series. The question again is, will they do it?
All right, well, we're starting off on board with Hollow. Again, we're looking at a very hard B push here. This is exactly what I expected out of Maki Maki to get this early garage control. Now, the only person on the side of min-maps that's going to have any information is Draza. Doesn't look like he's called it out just yet. Bomb's going to go down right away, and already you can see the rotation out of mid-maps to try and retake this B site.
One's already pushed up. That is Hollow. If he just turns to his left, he probably finds a couple of kills. One's going to cross. Goodbye, fellow. I'm stuck in a mid-slayer. That's unfortunate. Decimate will trade it out. 3v3. Bomb still down. You guys know the drill. Here comes one. Jimbo with the kill. Nagafen deleted. Draza and Decimate. Never mind. Just Draza. Your last alive picks up one. 1v2 now. Can he clutch up? Sib just up top. Draza actually playing this pretty smart. He's going to catch Jimbo on the rotation. 1v1. Sib, I don't think he knows he's up here. Sib escapes. 9 seconds to go. You have to at least stick the defuse. I don't think he will, and he knows that this round's almost over. It will be. Sib played it smart. He backs on up. No reason to go for the challenge. Play his time. 1-0 lead.
That was looking scary for just a moment there, as we're going to watch this one more time. Draza catches Cells and then easy reads on Jimbo. He turns around and got perfect timing on his flank, but unfortunately for him, he was not able to get the defuse. Now, this is what I expected, right? Maki Maki, flooding garage, playing the bomb down early, playing fast. It's definitely unfortunate for mid-maps that Draza didn't get any whiff of anybody sliding right past him, but this is what I expected coming out of the S&D stars on the side of Maki Maki.
And raise the level, right? Like, just get right in their face and force them to make a play. I know it sounds simple, but we say it for a reason. It worked out in round number 1. Fellow on your screen, there goes a nade. Jimbo caught. Oof. Couldn't get the angle, but Fellow will make him pay for it. So a 4v3 to kick off the round. Nagaven still your bomb carrier. First blood to Mr. Mid-Maps. Nagaven stuck in no man's land. Has to escape. Shots ring out from Visitor Center. It is Sib who found one. And Draza hugging the beach. That bomb's going to start moving A.
Looks like they're starting to see the rotation out of Maki Maki as they're getting caught off of it, though. Sib finding 2 at A. Don't run into that pre-fire ever again. But he doesn't know bomb is down. Now it's all up to Fellow and Des, who are stuck mid-map trying to cross. Sib! Oh, he almost got Fellow, but the turn and burn. It is now a 2v1. Bomb has been picked up and looks like it's going to be making its way towards the B site. Cells does not have this information. He's checking A, and lo and behold, nothing is there. Will he get timing on the fellow? We will see.
Best case scenario, you just kind of play your life and wait to see where the bomb goes. Unless he gets timing on fellow. Fellow right underneath, 10 seconds to go. Bomb's going down on B. Fellow might get perfect timing, but here we go. Now the call comes out. Cells has to rotate. We all know the deal. Ammo might catch Decimate. He will. There's one. Looking for the extra challenge. Fellow's right to the left. Does he know? I don't think so. Fellow turns around the bush. Could not be closer than this. Fellow might catch him. He will. He plays mid-map perfectly. Such a great bait. Once you know that he's trapped in visitors, no reason to over-challenge, not to get overzealous, and Fellow with just the heads-up veteran play.
We're gonna watch that Sib double again. Draza trying to make a play, but not today. But Fellow, great play out of him. I expected him to peek immediately after that call out from Des, but he stayed crouched, didn't make a noise, and waited for Cells to cross first. 1-1 now in the search and destroy. Looking on the side of Maki Maki. Sib 3-1. Nagafen a little bit of a slow start. It'll start being a little scary once he decides to pick it up. Nagafen is definitely one of those players that he doesn't slay out a lot, but he does get those important plays on the map. So I will be keeping my eye out for him. As he almost gets caught out at A. Cells calling out that information. You can see the rotation slowly on the A site as it gets taken over by Maki Maki.
Every time shots ring out for the start of the round, it's always Nagafen on the other side, and I just always feel so bad. Jimbo finds first blood. Decimate will drop. That bomb trying to move to A, but Nagafen finally finds a kill. 1 and 2 in the feed. Cells will clean up Fellow. Trading it back and forth. 3v2. Bomb still in favor of Jimbo. Never mind. Draza picks up 1. As the bomb will go down. Split map for Mr. Mid-Maps. Oh, Nagafen found Jimbo. Oh, Jimbo guns him! Oh, you can't lose that gunfight, Draza. 1v2. How are you going to handle it? Well, pick up Cells. That's good enough. 1v1. Bomb currently down. 29 seconds to go. Jimbo rotating through visitors. Jimbo has the weapon to work with at range. Draza must know that. He has to at least go for the kill. Don't have time to play this defuse. Oh, he's going to catch him. He's going to catch him. Oh, come on. You got to finish the kill, brother. Finish your plate. He'll do it. 12 seconds. They're going to get the defuse.
Oh, it was so scary for a minute, but Draza ending up hearing his footsteps, unfortunately. He almost made it out. But the defuse will go through for mid-maps. Draza had us sweating a little bit. Sweating in my palms a little bit there.
I was sitting here at the beginning of the round thinking, you know what would be great? A sniper. And then a little tear came out of my eye and just rolled down my cheek knowing that's not possible. Jimbo, big kill on Nagafen, and just heads-up play by Draza. One of the reasons that Optic Gaming LA picked him up last year was his ability to clutch up in situations like that, especially in S&D. Yes, they didn't get the champs results that they wanted, but watching him throughout the entire series, he was just an absolute monster, always making the right play, has the instincts of Envoy, but, you know, has that extra little bit of firepower that keeps him alive in 1v2 situations. Now, Maki Maki, Mr. Mid-Maps, again, 2-1 advantage to Mr. Mid-Maps. Bomb carrier will be Nagafen. We'll see what he's able to do. His fellow is watching that cross, but no one there, and Hollow is on the other side towards that little back alley.
Mid-Maps trying to make a push towards A here, but they are going to be running right in front of Sib. It looks like he called out information as they started the rotation from B site. Des able to catch one on the rotation. I love how Mid-Maps is playing this. They're just sitting back, they're giving them the information, and then trying to catch them on the rotation back to A site. A lot of gunfire going through here. Nobody even tagged up yet, but the bomb site will get taken over by Mid-Maps. Cells, is he going to be able to catch Naga? He doesn't know. He turns away. The bomb will go down. Draza! Fantastic kill on the Sib. He's looking in favor of Mid-Maps.
Wow.
And it is. All right. As soon as I say that, quick one and done.
Welcome
1-3.
to
Mid-Maps up. Maki Maki, what are they doing wrong, Space? What are they doing wrong?
Well, when you're trying to retake site and you keep getting picked up, that's kind of difficult. You gotta be able to find the kills to get into the site. But again, that's credit to Draza. That's credit to Nagafen for staying alive towards that beach cut and finding a way to, again, being able to rotate the bomb over, not getting first blooded, and create a situation where you force Maki Maki to collapse. You have trust in Fellow and Draza to be able to pick up kills as they fly into the site. They do just that. Fellow 4-2, Nagafen 1-3, been running the bomb primarily. Draza at 7-2, standout performance off the start. But Hollow, That other AR on the other side for Maki Maki needs to start finding a couple of kills in tandem with cells. They have to be able to open up the map. We sit at bottom piano. Sib underneath. Oh, bye. Fellow drops down Batman style. Jimbo picks up one. There's the trade. And 2 will fall for Maki Maki. Stuck in no man's land. Jimbo has nowhere to go. And Decimate has 2 kills. He's going to clean up 1v3. Cells, I'm sorry. This is kind of the situation you're going to be stuck in for at least the majority of this round. Now, how do you clutch up? That is the question.
1v3. We've seen it done before, but not. I mean, Draza is taken down, so there's your Thanos gone on the map, but you still have to worry about Des, Fellow, and Nagafin on the hunt. Bomb is down, though. Cells, I guess, hoping to try and get a pick, maybe trick them into a rotation, but he's been called out. And you can now see the blue arrows on the map closing in on his location. He is running for his life currently. You see all those arrows pointed in the same direction on the mini-map, just waiting.
Nagafen's probably going to be the only one to run the challenge out. There's literally no reason to move out of position. You know where Bomb is. You know he can't rotate to back alley. Just play time. Wait for him just to sit there and not do anything. Hollow gets dropped, and it was all up to Decimate, opening up the top of Piano, picking up 2 kills, taking out the AR in the back, taking out that front sub in Jimbo. Everyone else has to find scraps. They won't be able to do it. Mr. Midmaps 4-1. Maki Maki had an impressive start, but I feel like ever since that 1v2 from Draza and just the recognition that, hey, that might have been the title swing, Mr. Midmaps have not looked back. They've taken 2 rounds. They're up 4-1. Nagafen again going to run Bomb. 7-3 for Draza. 5-2 for Fellow. Decimate at 5-3 on a 3 streak. Here's an overview of the minimap. 1 player rotating all the way out to beachside. It will be Decimate, and he's going to sit towards top apartments, try to find someone at visitors. The other side would be Hollow. If he gets that pick, the map completely opens up. You can work from there. But Draza, ready and waiting with Nagafen. They want to pounce on this B site. They just don't know how many people from Maki Maki are here.
Now, we haven't seen many B pushes on the side of mid maps, and they're trying to play it very slow, but they will get caught out by Jimbo. But the trades do go through in their favor. There's now only 1 player on Maki Maki close enough on B site as rotation slowly starts to come in. Hollow gets called out, though, by Fellow. We're probably going to see Bomb go down here. Maki Maki just cannot get past the mid maps ARs.
Now look how far out Sib is. He's nowhere near the play, and it's not his fault. It's just the things have collapsed too quickly. Now he has to go on the hunt, but he's gonna get caught. Yeah, exactly. Decimate is still up top apartments, unchallenged. I don't even know if anyone saw he was there. They take him down. Cells will find the kill on a Fellow. Decimate rotating through mid-map. They're just gonna play this pinch. Bombs down alley. 25 seconds. You can play time. You have to force Cells to make a play. And with how good Draza and Decimate are playing, I don't know if it's possible, but anything certainly is. Cells can try to rotate to the back. He's not going to get the timing. He's going to get beaten down. And ever since that kill towards top apartments, when Sib falls, this round becomes null and void. It's almost impossible to retake the site and play through the bomb time. It's going to be so hard if they keep dropping like flies near the bomb.
Poor Cells stuck in that situation once again where he was 1v2, 1v3, 1v4. And Des and Draza, probably the last 2 people on mid-maps that I would want to be stuck in a 1v2 against.
Yeah.
Maki Maki down 1-5. Hollow still managed to get himself 1 kill. He is 1-6. I mean, they just keep getting picked out mid-maps. I mean, they are just running into their pre-fire. I'm hoping to see a change of pace here. Looks like they're going to try and go for that B push one more time. Only person they have to worry about is Draza, which is the scariest person on mid-maps currently to them. Stun goes out, doesn't catch anything.
3. And Sib at least gets tagged up so they know one's here. Okay, double kill. Jimbo Hollow, congratulations. Welcome to the party. Fellows in the back. Can they close him down? They will. Jimbo gets the second. Finally, some life for Maki Maki, but Nagafen is behind. Nagafen for the 1v4, if possible, takes down Cells. Bomb near B, and he'll get cut down. Maki Maki do a great job of retaking the site and working together to get the kills. 5-2. Don't call it a full sale, but it looks pretty nice.
Now, this is what we expect to see out of Maki Maki, you know, flooding Garage, just taking it by storm, you know, playing their numbers. I wish we could see them do consistently. They can only do it every once in a while, and if we see them kind of change pace again here, they are on defense, which will be a little harder because mid-maps have been absolutely dominating A site.
Yeah. Yeah, they really have. Again, it's just going to be one round at a time. Allie, looking at Maki Maki, is it just getting first blood, or like even on that retake, right, winning that second round, is it just coming down to them being able to trade effectively together?
They're doing exactly the opposite of what I was hoping they would do. They are pushing the B site, Mr. Midmaps, but they do have a few rounds that they can play with. Jimbo, first blood, is now a 5v4. It looks like he might catch solo too. Now this is what we expected to see out of Maki Maki. After some trades go through, he's a 3v2. Jimbo just absolutely having his way. Where was this? Trades go through. Maki Maki, 2 rounds in a row. Can they do it again?
Don't call it a full sale. Don't call it a full sale, but hold on a minute. It's looking pretty damn good. I'm just going to tell you that right now. At this moment, again, finding first blood. Welcome to 4v4. It's so nice. You only have to worry about 3 more. Last year was chaotic, I know. But when you get first blood, you can just work through that as a team. You can play numbers. You can play the advantage. You can trade. And now Maki Maki, 10-7 off the back of Jimbo. Sib at 4-6. Hollow 2-6. Cells 5-7. It's not great, but hey, it's working. 5-3. Anything is possible. Jimbo not going to rub bomb. He'll leave it up to Sib. And they're going to split. I like this play. Try to move through the beach. We haven't seen a lot of A hits. Will it change here? 3 members for Mr. Midmap stacking towards B. And surely once the first blood pops, then you're going to start to see the rotation towards the side. There it is. Second kill, not going to work, but hey, you even it out. Now you have to commit to B. You can't rotate. Sib stuck out of position. Tagged up from every angle. He will stay alive.
I love the fact that they were splitting, just like you said, but the problem was the execution. They looked like a little bit of a confusion off of break there, as we saw Jimbo have to back up from the bomb, and now they're caught out a little bit, but they were able to push up on the A site, but bomb isn't there yet. Bomb is still stuck mid with Sib, but that doesn't matter because he gets a kill on Fellow. Now it is a 3v1 on Draza. I've seen crazier things, but Draza does get taken down. It looks scary for a second, but Maki Maki, they did what I said they needed to do. They're changing pace. They're playing their game, and suddenly this is looking like a much different map.
Lovely bit of shots there from Sib. I thought for a moment I was going to cry because that is a gunfight. Sib has to win. Thought Draza might gun him. Nah, not going to happen. Sib picks up the kill. 5-4. Perfect position for Maki Maki to completely avenge the woes that have haunted them both in the start of this Elite series and also in the start of this series itself. 5-4, one away from sending us to a round 11. Mr. Midmaps were up 5-1. Since then, Fellow's gotten, I think, 1 kill. Nagafen, 1 as well. Draza has slowed down. Decimate has slowed down. Here's how the bomb's going to be moving up to A. I like the call from Mr. Midmaps, but they have to find the kills. Jimbo again takes down Nagafen. And they have numbers at Midmap.
Fellow just survived 3 Maki Maki members pre-firing at him, and now as the trades start going through, there's 2 members from Maki Maki down. That was huge. A Fellow to be able to back out and call to his teammates where they were so they could get that rotation in. Bomb has been picked up, and it's going straight to B, and there's nobody on the side of Maki Maki there just yet, but Sib catches him on the rotation, so now Bomb is down in mid. It is a 2v2. Draza and Des versus Cells and Sib.
They don't know the Decimate is up there, but they have to have some idea. So Sib can't cross. He's going to get tagged. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Woo!
Decimate catches him. 1v2, Allie. What's the play here?
Absolute burn from Des. I mean, they have to lay it fast. They have 22 seconds. The closer they are is the A, and Cells knows that, but he has to be faster. If Cells can get this pick while he's laying down Bomb, we could see a 1v2 clutch here.
They spot him, they did.
Oh.
Yep. If he goes towards top visitors, maybe he gets lucky, but as soon as he peeked through the door, you have to think he gets spotted. He does. It was Jimbo who opened it up with a kill and found Nagafen in the process. Fellow gets cut through mid. Sib found it. 3v2 down to a 2v2. It looked like we're going to round 11, but Mr. Midmaps take a sigh of relief. They breathe. They clutch up. And for us, a very impressive comeback. The resolve that started to come in for Maki Maki. Finally, we're seeing that extra level be hit. We started to see Maki Maki slow the game down and play it appropriately. Not that they haven't been in this series, but they had gotten blown out in game 1. A close S&D that still goes the way of Mr. Midmaps. Now we look at game 3. We look at the control, and again, I think that S&D was a bit of a linchpin for the future of this series, and I look at the fact that in the S&D, you had Fellow popping off, you had Draza, who was like 7-2, went to like 9-4 at one point, the entire team was just contributing. Nagafen was just kind of hanging out, and I said that he needed to be like, he needs to be a superstar. Let's take a look at the replay. But when Nagafen can put bomb down and just play his position, and you leave it up to Draza and Fellow, how much easier does S&D become for this team? And for Maki Maki, what did you see out of them, Allie, that was keeping them back in this game?
I just felt like they were playing so much to mid-map's pace. Mid-maps is played much slower, much more, first blood, then kind of make their decision on where they're going to go. And Maki Maki was just kind of playing to that. They weren't playing their own game. And then they started seeing glimpses of it while they flooded Garage, and they started, picking them off and playing together as a team. And that's where they really started to shine and come back. But unfortunately, mid-maps, again, a team of veterans were able to just kind of breathe and be like, all right, guys, let's just slow it down. One more round to go, and they were able to take it back. But hopefully going into our next map, we see a little bit more of that light out of Maki Maki now that they can see what they can do, and they can see that they can start kind of controlling the pace a little bit better. Maybe we'll see a little bit different of a game 3.
They controlled the chaos, and as we get set for control, aside from that 1v2 clutch coming out of Draza, which I felt really propelled them, obviously, to being in a good position to take the series, it was all Maki Maki. They brought it back 5-4. If they win that 1v2, they probably win the map, but sometimes all it takes is one round, 1 or 2 kills that go against you, and then you're stuck. So the map is ready to go. We are all ready for control. I'm excited that you guys are with us. It's been a fun match so far. It's been a fun series. Checkmate coming up next. And here's the thing, Checkmate Control is an interesting map. And when we talk about defense, this is one of those maps where being on offense is very, very difficult because essentially take P4 from Gunrunner last year, and then take P4, right? And then put it on both sides of the map, and then put a plane in the middle and say, have fun. Because that's kind of how chaotic it can be on these control points. And I look at Checkmate, I look at how well Decimate's been playing, I look at how well Fellow's been playing, I look at what Draza's been able to do as a sub. If he gets comfortable in the middle of the plane, this will be a very, very quick control. I want to know what you're thinking, Allie. What is it going to take for Maki Maki against Mr. Midmaps? Do you think it's sub pressure in the plane, or do you think, hey, the ARs need to match each other?
No, I completely agree with you. If Draza gets in that plane and starts taking control, I feel like that's super game over for Maki Maki. Now, I do favor mid-maps taking this checkmate just because of how fantastically they've already been playing in this series thus far. But I feel like Maki Maki's kind of deciding factor needs to be shutting down Draza. They need somebody to match his pace, whether that be Sib, whether that be Jimbo, because Jimbo is coming off very hot on that S&D in those last couple of rounds. They need to start shutting him down, and then possibly we could see a comeback coming out of them.
Yeah, and for me, you need cells to match Decimate. Decimate's been an X factor. He was an X factor in the Hardpoint, consistently finding 2 kills in a row, 3 in a row, able to break open the point. But looking at control, especially on offense, knowing how hard it is to cap on Checkmate, I need everyone at all times firing in all cylinders. You need Hollow and Sib and Cells and Jimbo to be on the same page, to be able to match the slaying that Mr. Midmaps has shown. Yes, this team only won 1 map coming into this series, but at this moment, it looks like that stat was false because they are just mowing down everyone from Maki Maki. But it doesn't mean that Maki Maki can't bring this back. This is an important map. This is a must-win for Maki Maki. The game is starting, which means we're loading on it. Checkmate Control, game number 3. Decisive. If we go to game 4, it will be Garrison Hardpoint. But at this moment, I'm predicting a Mr. Midmaps win. I think Allie is with me on that. I'm sure chat has their own predictions. We'd love to hear it. But at this moment, we can only wait and see. That's why we play the game. Let's get into it.
All right, already on board with the star himself, Draza, as he makes a beeline towards plane as expected. We'll be going under though. He catches out Sib right off the bat. He's gonna hop in, gets taken down, but the trades are going through on the side of mid-maps already. Starting to get some time onto that A point. No contest thus far. I mean, Maki Maki is just all crunched up in the middle of the map. No tick just yet on the A side.
This is the right play off the start. Go for A as quickly as possible. It is the hardest one to grab. If you are the offense, you can just get hit with utility after utility. And by the way, trophies do kill, so that's a problem. But here comes a nade. Jimbo stuck in no man's lane. He's going to get... Oh, no, never mind. He's going to get cut down. Finally, the trade comes through. Draza will find 1. Cells at the top of your screen. He's trying to find a second. And there goes Hollow. Draza able to pick up 1 towards the bottom of the plane. Sib might come in for the challenge. Cells rotating towards that back. NASA at this moment. 40 seconds to go. That tick is eliminated. And And now they have to choose. Do we go to A? Do we go to B? You need to commit because you're getting cut down 23-19. Life advantage to Maki. Maki sells in a very good position to take down anyone coming from the bottom of the plane. And look where those spawns are for Mr. Mid-Maps. The long rotation has to come through, and it won't happen. Maki is so far pushed up, but Draza has worked his way behind. Finally, he gets shut down, and here comes Decimate. It was all set up by Draza. He might have given them a lifeline.
Absolutely, Draza's flank was so important there. Even though he's only able to take down one, he made the rest of Maki turn around just for him, which gave his team time to push up and get onto this A point. But there's still a lot of control to play. The first pick still has yet to go through. There's a lot of work out of mid-maps right now as they have 10 seconds to get into this point.
Hollow coming down to the challenge, going to win the gunfight, keeps them alive, trying to deneutralize that first tick. He'll get in. One more to beat. It's Fellow. Bye. We'll see you later. 1 second. And again, welcome to Checkmate Control. A is one of the hardest to capture in the game, up there with what it was originally Moscow A site. That's gone. And now Checkmate is where dreams go to die. They do it well. Hollow able to shut down a couple. And Maki take their first round on defense, and that's kind of going to be the story of this game. Both teams should be able to win their defensive rounds as long as they control middle map with those ARs. But when we talked about in the beginning of this map, Ali, we said the subs need to go big in the plane. You saw off the start Draza just beelining it towards mid-map. He picked up one clutch kill in the back to hopefully get that last tick, but we didn't see a lot of Mr. Mid-Maps inside mid-plane. I do wonder if that's going to change, but off the start, it looks like the defense is heading to A.
Looks like we're going to see a couple more gunfights go down in plane once again. 3 players from Maki are on wing right now, just trying to get those kills off of A site. The trades go through pretty even, so no control given up just yet, but I feel like this map is definitely going to come down to who can take an offensive, and we're already seeing Maki trying to get that tick to go through and see if mid-maps can answer. They're so far away though. If Maki wanted to, they could also get into B right now. As number 6 on your mini-map, that's going to be Sib. He's just being an absolute menace in plane right now, not letting mid-maps get anywhere near the point.
Oh, what a big kill from Decimate. He's actually going to be able to grab spawns with that as well, so they're going to at least be towards that back shipping, and they can continue to flood. Challenges ensue on the point. Hollow's going to find 2. Decimate with the challenge. He will get it. Everyone falls by Jimbo. Sib picks up 1. Fellow drops as well. Third tick about to come in onto A. Sib at the top of the plane. Needs to rotate through, and here comes the cavalry from Mr. Mid-Maps. One gets cut down. It's Sib still alive, picking up Fellow. Here comes Decimate. Is he going to survive? Their challenge there, and Sib will pick up the kill. Finally was waiting. Thank you for showing off. 1-0 lead still for Maki, but the tick continues in. They're going to grab B at this rate. Life advantage to Maki. 22-13. They are cutting down everyone from mid-maps.
Jimbo and Sib are doing exactly what I said they needed to do. They shut down Draza. Draza's only sitting at 8 and 10 right now, which is still a pretty okay stat line, but look at the rest of mid-maps. You got Fellow at 5 and 12, Naga at 4 and 11. They're really starting to feel the hurt from Naga being able to warm up just yet. Now Maki's at 2 and 0. They were able to take a defense and an offense. This map is looking very scary for mid-maps. They need to turn something around here.
Outside of the last 20 or so seconds on the defensive round for Maki, it has been a very quick control. I did not expect this. Decimate had no chance here. Sid picks up 3 kills. It opens up the site. It forces everyone to spawn back, and they have to make the long rotation. And again, it's going to take a while to get to the point, and Maki hop on it. They're able to pick up the time. They get both ticks. Welcome to round 3. Maki currently up 2-0. Mr. Mid-Map's up 2-0 in the series, and this is a time when Maki can find a way to extend it to another hardpoint. It looks like they might be able to do it. We have 2 members currently pushing up. Mr. Mid-Maps will trade out 1. Decimate will take down Hollow. Cells will take down Decimate. Nice little trade there. There's about 1:17 to play. Sib on your screen is going to find 1. He'll get cut down in the process, and the first tick will go through on B.
Mid-Map's definitely trying something different here, as they usually split off right on this break, but they decided to fully commit to the B site. Will that pull out in the end? They do get 1 tick on B, and as trades go through, they get taken down, but Fellow, he's on the A site right now, just trying to play his life, but Hollow has something to say about that. Again, Maki are just playing to their pace. They have taken over the pace of this game right now, which is what they needed to do in the first 2 maps. And I'm worried for mid-maps here that should Maki take this 3-0, if they will be able to reverse sweep the rest of the series going off of this momentum.
Jimbo is the guardian angel right now. I mean, Hollow was just sitting still for a while. They're spawning towards back NASA. Hollow going to get cut down. Jimbo next man up. Utility comes in. Goodbye, Jimbo. Nagafin able to pick up one. Knows more are moving through the plane, but Cells and Hollow working together, trying to retake position onto A. You can see the minimap spread out for the moment was Maki, but that big kill from Fellow actually opens up the plane. Now they can move through, and they do just that. Draza finds a kill. For the rest of Maki, now it's about covering ground and trying to contest B, but 29 seconds to go. You need to win this point if you are Mr. Midmaps. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Trophy system down, shuts down the nade. Fellow still on your screen, a little bit tagged up, a lot in the clip, but not a lot of time to stay alive. One kill comes in, Jimbo gets taken down. Hollow will trade out one, 24 seconds to go. The tick still coming through. Slowed and contested. 20 seconds still on the clock. Decimate with a big kill, he finds that. And it looks like they might be able to get back onto the point still. They're trying to find the progress. Will it work?
They gotta get this final tick on B first, and they ended up to do it, but Jimbo has something to say about it as he gets to 2 off of, oh, now 11 lives to 11 lives. They are tied up right now, but Fellow just having his way with Maki right now. He finally gets taken down, the one-man army. Not even a tick on A yet, though. I'm hoping he's still a little bit more out of Nagafin as he's been a little bit behind of his team. Currently, Des. Easy 2 and Wood. See you later.
He's spawning them back alley as well.
At A.
Look where they're spawning alley.
Des coming behind him. He's gonna catch one. Are they gonna turn for him? One's turned around for him at A, but the tick is coming through. Hollow needs to turn around. Hollow needs to contest this point. It's only up to him. He finally does it.
How does he stay alive this long and just know not to challenge? I don't understand. Look where he's spawning Maki. The fact that he's overextended is causing so much confusion. They don't know how they want to play through the map. Streaks will finally come on in. Will it clear out the site? You have 52 seconds. Plenty of time to be able to play through this. Fellow finds one. Sib will take down Draza. Decimate still all the way back uncontested. Oh, goodbye. NASA shut down and they find the kills, and finally Maki get mid-map control back in their possession. And what looked good from Mr. Midmaps, it looked like they were going to close out this game, or excuse me, this round. It all of a sudden has just completely flipped, and Maki currently have map control. Wow. I was so wrapped up in the fact that they were so far out of spawn that, by the way, lives do matter. Maki close it, and they take it 3-0 in a very dominant control on Checkmate. I'm kind of just stunned at the end of that round. I thought for a minute, okay, Decimate Draza, they're going to be able to just kind of blow this game open. We're going to go to round number 4, and all of a sudden, hey, by the way, life count matters, and yeah, Maki just kind of killed all of them. So, yeah, that's kind of where we sit. Allie, at the end of that game, right, you're looking at life count, but you're also looking at the fact that uncontested was Decimate behind the spawn, but somehow Maki find the resolve. They survive. Now we're just kind of looking at the highlights. The control they had through top lane, a lot was Sib with the Krieg. What were you seeing out of Maki that just, you know, helped propel them to a 3-0 win?
I mean, Sib and Jimbo just took over the map, which, I mean, I feel like that opened it up for Cells and Hollow to kind of just watch over them and watch their backs. And Midmaps just, they weren't able to get the back on their game. They weren't able to answer back to them. Draza, unfortunately, his back was so heavy from the first 2 maps, wasn't able to carry again. And now we see going into the rest of the series, you know, is Maki going to be able to run with this?
Well, let's take a look at the replays, because I'm pretty sure it's just one long B-roll of Sib, and if I'm correct, yeah, he had a great game, by the way. Sib was everywhere, right? You had Jimbo working in tandem with him, able to cut down a couple in back blue. Cells was finding kills left and right, but Sib at top lane, that 3-piece that really gave them the second round, that was the catalyst. Decimate did all he could. You had Draza trying to work through the back, but here it was. Sib cutting down one, takes down Nagafin, says, why not buy Fellow? Decimate tried to come in for the challenge. It didn't work, and this opened up the B site. It bought his teammates time to go for the capture. They get the first tick in off of this, and they let the rest of Mr. Midmaps funnel through to the point. They cut them down one at a piece, and now we sit looking at game 4. We look at a hard point. We're going to Garrison. This is again a map where Maki can absolutely bring this to a game 5, but will it be enough to overtake Draza and Decimate and Fellow? Allie, prediction going into game 4. Who you got?
It's the exact same prediction that I went to the control. If Sib and Jimbo are able to shut down Draza and Decimate, then they could very easily take this Garrison Hardpoint. But if they slow down even a little bit, I know they will suffer the consequences.
Sib, it sounds like an evil overlord there, just suffering the consequences. But Sib is the standout, right? Like for this team, if Sib is playing well, this team can go places. If he's not playing well, that's when I start to wonder. That is one of your most explosive players. How long can you go before you start to see the cracks in this team? In that game, he was taking over mid-map. He was finding a way to keep everyone involved on the point. They succeed. They blow out Mr. Mid-Maps in a 3-0 win. Now we go to game 4 on Hardpoint. It's Garrison. Again, I gotta look at the flexes and the subs. This is going to be big. Here's the map overlay. It's Garrison for game 4, and I know Maki want to send this to an S&D game 5. Moscow would be that map, but 250-67, game 1 was a blowout. Mr. Mid-Maps, basically a blowout up until 5-1 lead, and then they let the S&D come back on them. They close it out. But that's been the story of this series. Blowout by Mr. Mid-Maps in games 1 and 2. Maki do the exact same thing in game 3. I feel like game 4 is going to be, regardless of the side, the same situation. Do you think it's going to be close or a blowout?
Well, so something that I feel like we haven't touched on that much today and recently, because it's so easy in the season, is we haven't talked about maps and what teams are good at what maps. So that could have just been a fluke. You know, Checkmate could have just been one of those maps that got through the veto that wasn't, you know, one of mid-maps' better choices. So we could see it completely flip here in Garrison. We could see a blowout once again on mid-maps. But again, it comes down to Draza and Decimate to kind of shut down Sib and Jimbo, because once they get on a roll, it gets very scary to shut them and hard to shut them down.
Again, key factors for Mr. Mid-Maps going into this hardpoint. Draza, he's so good at this thing called COD, and you look at Decimate, who had a stellar performance in game 1. Fellow and him working as a duo. The duality there, their ability to take over hills is unprecedented. Nagafen just has to be consistent, be neutral, be dead even, continue to find a way to help your team break the hill, win rotation, etc., etc., etc. And you can expect Draza to have the game of his life, but on the other side, Sib can absolutely take over the lobby. You look at Cells and Hollow. They need to, again, continue to work together and make the job easier for Jimbo and Sib. But I look at this team and I look at the fact that they are so young, the fact that this roster is so newly formed, the composition is good. It might not be perfect at this moment. They still have things they need to work on. Yes, it is the start of the season. Yes, there is much more to be played. I'm sure they will get better, but it's all about the story that currently exists. And the story that currently exists as we get into the game is that both these teams are struggling. They're both at the bottom of this bracket. They're both 7th and 8th. So the winner of this has a good chance of, hopefully for them, not being relegated out, but it might be likely given their map and series record. On the other side, if you lose this, you're done. There's just going to be way too hard to overcome. This is the time for Sib and Hollow and Cells and Jimbo to have the map of their career and try to keep themselves alive in the series.
All right, right off the bat, mid-maps not even going into yellow, giving up the control very early to Hollow, who should be able to shoot some people in the back, but his teammates already wiped them all out. Already a very hot start on the side of Maki.
It looks like Mr. Mid-Maps are more than happy to play through top green and set up for radar on P2, but not even worried about the rotation still. 34 seconds to fight over, and here come the follow-up from Maki. Nate start to fly in. One will get cut down. Nagafen on your screen, trying to pick up one, will not do so. Cells finds the kill. Traded out by Fellow. He's currently sitting in the hill, and he will die. Nice nade there. Sib picks up Decimate. 2-4. Draza able to pick up the kill. He'll do so. Gain control of top radar. Now moving into P2, we look at rotation. Look at the top side of your minimap. Thank you, production. And there you can see 4 members from Maki now have to work through those backlines. They have to find the kills against Mr. Mid-Maps. They're going to funnel through lights, but it's already Fellow finding 2. Decimate finds the 3rd. He's looking for the 4th. Cells will shut him down, but they're gathering time more and more, and Mr. Mid-Maps have early time.
If anything, though, I was worried we would get a little bit of a replay from map 1, but I was happy to see Maki play for P1 and not go for rotation early, because that's what hurt them in the beginning, is that they kept getting put out of spawns. Now Sib left on his lonesome to defend P2, and this is the Maki we wanted to see. This is the Maki we wanted to see flood into hill and just break it instead of going for those early rotations. The mid-maps, they're trying to answer, but they can't. They're getting spawn trapped right now as the trades start going out. Sib and Hollow just locking it down, and mid-maps are still spawning back there. 20 seconds left, and they are still stuck at old spawns. This is a perfect situation for Maki.
Yeah, and the confidence in these gunfights, Maki just absolutely destroying mid-maps at this moment. The trades are there, but the numbers are even better. Mid-maps trying their best to get into the hill. Fellow last alive has to fight a 1v1 against Sib. He wins it somehow, but basically gets a second. That's, you know, second is a second, but it's not great. Here comes Decimate in the back. And he's going to be able to punch his way through the front line defense. Maki now have to hold on strong because his numbers are back there and they get the close spawns. But how long will it last? 3 in a row. Now Cells makes it 4. They have control of the hill. And talk about a complete 180 from game 1, Allie. They are breaking the hill, they're holding, and they're finding the essential kills.
I wish Des played that just a half a second slower because Fellow was on his way from Long Garage to make his way into the back to hopefully flip spawns. But we'll see them flip now finally as they push through the front and got a couple kills. But Maki, I mean, they are sitting very comfortable right now. It is 4 to 25. These final 20 seconds will go the way of mid-maps, but they're about to get spawn trapped once again as you see your kill feed light up white.
Jeez.
Mid-maps slowing down considerably from what we saw in the earlier series.
Sib 7 and 6, Cells 8 and 6, trying to make it 9, 3 in a row. Hollow 9 and 6, 36 seconds in the hill. Here comes the cavalry. Cells. I don't think he got one. No, he didn't. Fellow will shut him down. Draws are going to try to work through the back of Caution. And speaking of that work, he needs to be careful because he is getting lit up from every angle. The kill feed continues to be white. It has not changed. Hollow finds, what, 2 now? And you have Jimbo on a 3 spree, 100 to 42. Very reminiscent of game 1, but just flip the roles.
Jimbo was just sitting mid, having his way. I mean, nobody on mid-maps turned and burned. I mean, he was just getting 1, 2, and 3 traps, pulling the central Garrison, but Fellow trying to make some noise, but again, your kill feed is still lighting up white. 109 to 42 mid-maps. I mean, draws a 7 and 7, Fellow 11 and 9, Nagafen 6 and 12. We still have yet to see him warm up, but Cells 10 and 8, Hollow 13 and 7. This is what we needed. We needed the other members of Maki to start being the talented young guns that they are.
Hollow just got such a big kill on Lights because it locks down the spawns and it gives you the ability just to flood right to P5. Now we go to the other side of Lights, we go down to the floor, and you can just see they're all set up. There's no reason they need to push out, and they have position to be able to flood right to P1 off start, so you can get towards Caution and pick up the necessary kills. Sib finds 1, he'll get cut down. Mr. Mid-Map's only 2 players left alive. They're trying to move their way into the hill, but spawns flip. And you can tell the Maki are setting up for hills ahead. They flip the spawns. Now they can play bottom floor. They can play through Caution. They can get towards Radar. It's going to come up to Sib to find a couple of key gunfights, but everyone's attention is focused on the current hardpoint. Jimbo finds 2 kills. He's still alive as well. Fellow going to try to funnel in. He'll pick up 1 on the entry. Gets the time. 25 seconds to go. And they might be able to soak it up if Fellow has his way with these kills.
Maki definitely were just trying to keep mid-map spawning deep back there. That's why they kept going in green and not worrying too much about the hill time that they needed to. Fellow turned and burned on Sib coming out of breaks, but not that that matters. This is only a mere 7 seconds going to the side of mid-maps. Maki seem much more comfortable on this map as they are keeping mid-maps at bay.
6 in a row. Picked up by Dallas Empire as a sub earlier this year. 7 in a row. Fellow has yet to go down on this life. 19 and 10. Oh, so tagged, but he's going to go for the challenge. You know he wants to. The nade comes in, so tagged up. He will drop. And a good job to get him out of position. Finally, utility starts working for Maki. They'll come in for the contest, and they'll grab a little bit of the time. 1 big kill from Sib gives them the early control. 140 to 85. Half a minute to go. We look at the rotation on the bottom side. Now moving towards the middle of the minimap, it is Sib picking up 1 gunfight in the back, and they have to move towards top green. Now it's up to Decimate to find a couple of kills. He'll do so, all blue in the kill feed. And now we look at Radar. That is our next kill. Second set of rotations. Welcome to the party, everyone. We got a lot of kills to go, a lot of time to be fought over, but this game is by far starting to show off that it's pretty good.
Decimate starting to heat up just a little bit. Jimbo needs to win this 1v1 on new, and he's not able to do it. Nagafen takes down Jimbo, so we're going to see an early rotation out of mid-maps with Sib looking to make some noise. He takes down 1. He's on his lonesome. Nagafen for this Sib. This is a huge 1v1. Sib has to win this if he wants to break this hill for his teammate, and he doesn't take it, but the cavalry comes in. For some reason, mid-maps are oh so far away from the hill. Streak's starting to come in from Fellow. Picks up 1. But, I mean, spawns have flipped out. Mid-maps no longer have complete control that they did. Maki trying to have something to say about it, but again, this game is slowly, the gap is getting smaller and smaller as mid-maps start to heat up. Nagafen with 2. We were waiting for him to come and join the party, and here he is. 11 and 18, though. You know, slow start, but we're getting there.
Well, you can't really afford to give up this scrap time, so yeah, they had to fight for it, and you also have to worry about the rotation. Well, now we move to P3. First one set up will be Maki Maki. You guys know the drill. 2 kills in a row, all white in the kill feed. It is Maki Maki picking up the necessary kills, and on your screen it sells. One in the back. It's going to be Fellow and Draza who are there, but they'll take him down. And he will drop. Hollow on the other side will get naded, and there goes the stun. Doesn't connect, but finally the stun will, so they know one more is going to be pushing through caution. Look at your minimap, how split out the numbers are. One rotating through. It's a pickup by kills. Cells and Fellow both fighting for possession. Fellow drops. Nakaven picks up one, and Hill time back in favor of Maki Maki. One player still there, gets tagged up. The numbers start to funnel on in. But no one's been able to get a clean hold, and that's what we're still looking for. Finally, the blue kill feed comes out. Mr. Midmaps off the back of Draza should be able to lock down this 30 seconds.
Fellow the man himself, 30 and 15. He is not going down. He is absolutely picking it up for his team right now. And all of a sudden, we see a lead change. And Maki Maki starting to slow it down. They're starting to play to mid-map's pace again. But we're going to try and see if they're going to get this spawn trap once again. They've gotten it once before and gotten 60 seconds off this hill before. So Cell's trying to play top caution once more. Jimbo not able to win the 1v1 in dark, but Cell's able to bring down 2. This is a 20-point game. What was looking so good for Maki Maki, they started to slow it down. Hollow, unable to pick one. He will get taken down in mid. No time going to either side just yet.
This is the first lead change for Mr. Midmaps, the one they've been able to hold on to for the most part. As again, Maki Maki sitting in the hill. The subs from Mr. Midmaps have not been able to find pressure inside and win those opening kills. We slow things down, very uncharacteristic in this hardpoint, but Draza caught in essentially no man's lane, has nowhere to go, but Draza somehow finds 2 kills. Cell finds 1, Fellow finds 2, and they get the hill back. They're going to be able to tie up this game and take the lead. 3rd time in a row, Jimbo shuts him down. From cross map with an AK-74 Ube. Okay, we'll call that all fair and square. Draza takes down Hollow. And they will grab the lead. Nagaven some beautiful shots. Footwork as well. Jimbo almost baited out of position, but they get a 1-point lead. Now we go to P5. Stay on the main floor with us. We'd love to have you here, and we'll see who's set up first. It looks like Mr. Midmap should be able to get control. They will. They have the opening time.
Slippery Sib was unfortunately caught out on rotation, but Midmaps could get stuck in a very bad spawn trap here once again. They need to start fighting their way out. Number 8 on your Midmap, that's Des. He is pushed out behind enemy lines. He needs to play his life here. He needs to get a pick or 2. He might grab it right now. He sees him go up the green. He knows Sib is up there. Can he get the pick? He will. That was huge. There's 3 down on the sides of Maki Maki. 204 to 196. Fellow the one-man army. He's going to be the one that was spawn trapping Maki Maki in the back. He will get taken down though, but what was, again, spawn traps from Maki Maki, they're now eating some of their own medicine right now as Draza is pushed up, just spawn killing them one by one in the deep tank.
Well, you can't win it here. Go to another hill, folks. So let's set up for their 3rd set of rotations. Back to caution on P1. Decimate on your screen is going to hit Cell, get by. One more is Jimbo in the hill. Jimbo's going to win the gunfight, and Jimbo will drop thanks to Nagafen. 2:29. Still so much time to fight over. Sib finally works his way in. This game is not over. Maki Maki are inside Sib with 1:22 and counting. Cells at top green towards back radar. He's going to find one. They have to take him out of position, but he can shut him down to lights. Picks up one, and Fellow will take him down in the process. Again, Sib is still alive in the hill. Here comes Fellow. 38 and 24, almost a 40 bomb. Ben will take down. Nope, Draza gets the nade kill. And no one's been able to get a strong hold on this, and that means we might be looking at another hill going towards radar. We have to look at the rotation. If we don't win it here, 18 seconds, you could still do it if you're mid-maps, but you can't get anywhere near the point. Finally, they get in. They won't be able to win it here. We have to go to radar. Who's going to be there first? It will be Maki Maki. They can win with a full 60, but guess what? It's Draza. He set up first, has to win both gunfights, finds one. The numbers are there, but Mr. Midmaps, Nagafen in the back, they have to be able to get the kills.
Maki Maki and Midmaps, they both needed to focus on rotation there. What looked like was Midmaps there first. Maki Maki were able to pull through. They have 1 break here on the side of Midmaps on board Nagafen, who has such a slow start. Let's see if he can turn it up when it counts the most. That's 2 down on Maki Maki. They have to use the numbers. They have to flood it now. That's exactly what they're doing. Cells is on his lonesome. The cavalry is on the way, but will they be there soon enough? He takes down 2! Cells, the one-man army in hill right now. 229 to 239. Maki Maki can 100% win it here.
All you gotta do is contest if you're Mr. Midmaps and get ready for the rotation. That is Draza at middle map. We need to find a couple of kills. They're gonna grab the lead, but hey, guess what? They can win it here. You have to put numbers into the hill, and here they come. Hollow's gonna shut down one. Everyone else trying to follow through the left side. They're gonna get cut down. Cells on a 4 spree. He's gonna find the fifth. He will. They might be able to win it here. No one else is gonna be there in time. Draza can't cover that much ground. And as a contest, it's up to Cells and Maki win game 4, and we're going to S&D.
That was the best map of the series so far. Draza and Death were slow to warm up, and Fellow just tried to put them on his back. And unfortunately, they heated up a little too late to shut down Jimbo and Sib, and not to mention Cells. I mean, he went huge there in the end. I can 100% say that Cells is the reason that they won this hardpoint.
You know, Sib was able to stay alive on that third rotation on P1, right? The third set of hills. He was up for like 20 seconds uncontested, grabbed enough time to make the game possible on radar. Then you have Cell sitting at the very back, grabs 4 kills. No one else tries to come in, try to nade, try to challenge. Yes, there was trophies down, but still, no one tried to take out Cells, try to work through top green. They all continued to funnel right in front of radar, and once that happened, I mean, we could just take a look at the replays. It was up to Cells. Civ gets the entry kills. He's able to also continue to get more time, get them into position to win it on radar, and then Cells comes in with a massive 5 kills, keeps them in the game, keeps them on point to win it. And we go to an S&D, and just looking at this hard point, it was all Mr. Midmaps. They had control. They were down by a lot. They bring it back, and then Maki turned up. You had Cells, Hollow, Jimbo, Sib, every single member of this team found a way to clutch up and get massive kills in the hardpoint, especially on rotation. I mean, it just was nonstop. Allie, do you think that this is going to rally them to a series win?
I told you that once they get that control, they could just take it and start running with it, because that's the kind of mindset these younger players have, and that is exactly what they are doing. Going into this S&D, I am very worried for Midmaps because of the amount of confidence that Maki have going into this final map. And it's interesting to watch, because I feel like the younger players, for sure, definitely under pressure is when they do their best. That is a consistency among them, is whenever they are really put their backs against the walls, when we see them do crazy things like Cells getting a 4-piece, Sib getting a 3-piece, you know, everybody turning up at the end of the game. It's like, it's that thrill, it's that adrenaline that really pulls the talent out of them.
You know, looking at the last S&D we just saw, it was entirely clinical from Mr. Midmaps, and that's the one thing giving me pause, right? Like, the momentum is currently on Maki's side, no question, but I look at that last S&D and I think that the clinicalness, that's a word, it's not, but whatever, the fact that it was so succinct and well oiled all the way throughout. Yes, they're up 5-1 and it ended 6-4, but it was a game 2 win on Miami. Here's an overview of the maps: 250 to 67 on Crossroads. Now we go to Moscow, where Draza and Fellow can absolutely eat, and you look at Decimate and Nagafen, like the ARs are going to have a field day. I think it's entirely winnable for Maki, but this might be a harder map compared to Miami than most people are expecting, given the lines of sights in which Midmaps can actually do their business. For Maki, you need to continue to have that teamwork. You need to find first bloods every round you're going to win, and you have to continue to rely on Cells and Hollow to step up, the likes of Sib and Jimbo have. And yeah, I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be closer than the 5-1 we saw in game 2, but I have to favor Midmaps going into this S&D. Your thoughts?
I truly think it could go either way. I don't know if I'm favoring either team right now, because even though Maki are hot on their tails right now, off of, you know, winning the control and winning the hard point the way that they did, at the end of that map, Draza and Des started to warm back up again, and that's where we saw them, you know, in the S&D, and where we saw them in the hard point. And, you know, if we see that Draza and that Des again, I feel like it could be a much more competitive map than we're expecting.
Yeah, you know what? I like to agree with competitiveness. I like when things are close. So, you know what? I hope it goes to round 11. I hope it's a 1v1. I don't care who's in the 1v1. I just want to see it because I like cool things. But the important part to know, and the important thing to remember, is that while we get ready for game number 5, folks, this is an interesting series because not only the names on the screen, but there's a lot on the line here. Maki, Mr. Midmaps, both 0-4 respectively in the North American region, 7th through 8th respectively in the North American region. Going into this, Maki had won 3 maps, and going into this, Mr. Midmaps had won one map. So both teams have essentially doubled their entire stat line, but whoever wins this moves to 1-4. Whoever loses this moves to 0-5. That is a problem, because if you're trying to stay within third through sixth of this entire bracket to fight for a chance in a playoff bracket for single elimination, if you don't do that and you're the last two teams, you get relegated out. We will not see you for the remainder of the season. So you're going to have to fight back at some other point, and the top two will just move into season 2. There is a lot to be asked about. There's a lot to be asked for both these teams. So far, they've delivered. I've enjoyed the series, Allie. But I feel like at some point in this S&D, I think we're going to start to see the nerves come out. I think that knowing that you're going to be relegated out, whichever team it may be, that's going to start to get at them, and we might see some mistakes.
What's interesting about that, though, is because on Minmap's team, you have all your veterans, and you think, when they're cornered into a back of a wall, you expect your veterans, to do their best, to keep their composure,
Sure.
excuse me. But on the side of Maki Maki, like I said, they had their backs against a wall in both the control and series count, and then in the hardpoint and time count. But they were able to clutch it out. So that's what makes this final map so interesting, is it's adrenaline versus composure. I feel like at this point, it's backs against the wall for both of them, but they're both being handled in completely different ways.
Well, at this point, I think we've pretty much said all we can really say. It just comes down to the players, right? It comes down to, are they going to execute? Are we going to see those storylines unfold? Because again, you lose, you're probably relegated out. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to be very hard to come back. Again, similar situations in Europe as well. Just a quick mention, Singularity, who move up, I believe, 2 and 3. Team 3G, 0 and 5. Or 0 and 6 at this point. Those are the situations, right? We're getting towards the cream of the crop in a lot of these elite series, and that's what the elite series is about. It's about having the best players in the amateur circuit for tier 2 Call of Duty move their way up to being at least scouted, noticed, and or recognized by professional teams. And that's what you're going to get with people like Connect 4 and Orglis and Trainhard in Europe, people like Wester, New York Subliners Academy, and UT Crew in North America. There's room to move in North America, but the top 2 teams, you have to gun for them. New York Subliners Academy, which I believe we have coming up after this series, they're not doing it. So I believe we're almost ready to go. But for Allie, again, I'm going to ask you the same thing we kind of did in the first S&D for Game 2. I said, hey, I need Nagafin. I need him to just, if you're looking at someone, if you're looking at someone on Maki Maki, all right, who are you picking? Give me your MVP standout. Who is it? And do you need them to have a stellar performance in this game?
So, I'm only saying this because of how much he turned up in the first S&D that we watched.
Okay.
Jimbo had a slow start in the first S&D. The second he kind of turned gears, that's when they started winning rounds. That's when they started to make their comeback. So if he comes out hot right off the bat, then we could see a completely different stat line. And I also wanted to present this situation to you, into a perfect world, just in our hypothetical fantasy
I love
leagues.
perfect worlds. What you got?
Game 5. Round 11. It's a 2v2. All right. Decimate and Draza versus Sib and Jimbo. Who do you have?
Decimate and Draza. If we want recency bias, which again is such a stupid thing, but it's awesome for conversations. Yeah, Decimate and Draza. They have been on fire. Did we watch the same S&D Alley when Draza got the 1v2, and we're sitting there like, what the hell? Yeah,
we also watched
Draza.
the same one where they came back 3 rounds in a row. So, if we did watch 2v2, the same one.
I'm going to refer to you because you play competitively. I tried. I'm not good at it, but You're like, hey, I know what qualities I want from these players. Games are starting. Let's get into Game 5 S&D. I trust you if you tell me that Sib and Jimbo are the keys to Ferrari that is the success of this team. I'm going to 100% back you on that and be like, all right, let's see it. But you know what, Allie? I just want to see that happen. I just want to see a Game 5 time. What more could you ask for? Let's get underway on Moscow.
A little bit of a slower start here, something we're not very used to out of Maki Maki. God, I love Moscow. Search and destroy. Nothing grabbed by Sib.
It's a good map.
No trades through just yet. Not even a tag by a nade or a stun. No information given up on either sides, but we will see a rotation out of Maki Maki trying to make their way onto the B side. Looks like we're getting a superstar visit by Teach.
Come on, Teach! Now is not the time. The LA Thieves went 2-0 and just forgot how to act. Unbelievable. Plant's going to go down. Sib's going to pick up 2 kills. Okay. Thought he was going to get taken out, but I guess not. Playing on the bomb. Fellow and Draza. 2v4. Draza cut down through bank. No chance he's going to be able to wrap through mid-map. Hollow will get shut down, and Fellow's going to get called out. Nowhere he can run. And well, there you go. Maki take round 1.
Maki made that look so easy. It was so slow. Like who's gonna give first? And then Sib's just I'll just kill 2 of them. It's fine. Whatever. You know, just the usual day for Sib.
I took my eye away from the screen because I'm looking at the mini map and I'm like, oh, Sib's gonna die. Nope, that's not it.
Sib's gonna die. No, Sib never dies. Sib sitting at 2-0. Jimbo 1-0. Cells 1-0. Already a very hot start out of Maki. See if they can keep it going here on defense.
Looks like it might be a quick plan up to A, but you have a 2-man split going through top Eskies. Surely they know they have to start throwing utility down. Draza finds first blood. Here comes the second for Fellow, and everything's collapsing. Cells is dead. It's a 3v1. Hollow last alive. What can you do? Not much. Mr. Midmaps completely retake the site up through top Eskies, and well, that was a quick round. Holy God.
Fellow keeping his hot streak from our previous map. I mean, turn and burn onto Cells.
Jesus.
I expect nothing less. 1-1 now. Round count. Yeah, that was really fast. That's typically how it goes should there be a full push on the A site. Not too much wiggle room there as B site is so far away on this map. We don't see too many plays made towards that bomb site. Another A push coming out of Maki.
Not many people are trying to move up Metro Street. I don't blame them. Nagafen. Underscreen's going to go ahead and back up. Yep, don't like that play either. A couple of shots ring out. Bomb carrier Jimbo. Draza will find first blood. And here comes the bomb. Jimbo gets cut down. Bomb is top. Eski's such a horrible position for Maki to be in 4v2. There's really no way to retake unless you just wipe off Draza and Decimate from the site. Then you have to worry about Fellow on the other side. Nagafen's all the way out of the play. Decimate going to peek. Cell's going to tag him. No one to drop.
Very tough situation for Hollow and Cells with bomb being down in the mid, and mid-maps know it. I mean, 2v4 situation, especially in Moscow, what can you do? Gonna try and just slide in and go for the grab. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. Mid-maps now up 2-1. I feel like at that point, once bomb goes down, there's just not much wiggle room for you. We're gonna watch Draza's 2-piece. He gets one with the nade. Peeks it once more. Jimbo tries to beam him off, but he's just a little too late there. Again, so like I said, this is going to come down to Draza and Jimbo right now. 4-1 on the side of Draza. Jimbo is only 1-2. Excuse me, I thought he was doing a little bit hotter than that. But Sib, 2-2. Hollow, 2-3. Cells, 1-2. Pretty even across the board. Side of mid-maps, though, absolutely slaying out for only being 2-1.
Another rush plant to A. Cells and Hollow about to be overwhelmed. Sib tries to move through the bottom of Eskies. Stun comes out. Draza's going to connect to one. Knows he's to the left. Close left. Has to peek. He will not do it. A little bit late to the reaction. Fellow picks up one. Decimate finds the second. They clean it up. Sib is behind, though. One more there. He's going to get challenged, and surely that bomb should just go down, but Fellow ripped off the heady. Goodbye. Sib still up. 1v1 now. Was a 1v3. Nagafen grabs bomb. Wraps to B. I love this play. Just get it down and play the time. Sib surely will know that the plant's going to come in any moment. And he might be getting it now. Yep, he's going to go ahead and rotate up to Nagafen in a 1v1.
Bomb down. It's all going to come to timing here. Sib's going to peek right out of this green the second Nagafen thinks about crossing from this bus, but he's just going to sit there. See if he's going to hear Sib. Sib doesn't even choose the window. He's picking the worst route. Naga's going to catch him in the back. Oh, Sib, if only you have climbed through the window to get the bomb defused. Finally seeing some warming up out of Nagafen, though. He's sitting at 2-3, I believe. Or 2-2, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, this just entire play set up by Sib. The entry and then the rip off of Fellow. It looks dangerous when he does that because you go from a 3v1 to, oh God, we need to plant the bomb or we lose this round. And the fact that they did it so well off the back of Sib shows you that Maki can still pull it off in S&D, but down 3-1. Now you look at the swing rounds, right? Better to be down 3-2 than 4-1. Draza at 4-2. He's had a good start. Hollow On your screen, they're going to try to move this one up through mid-street. Cells rotating towards bank. And Jimbo finds first blood. That's big for Maki Maki. They can just go uncontested onto B, but it's Decimate who's crossing in. Hollow might get perfect timing. He won't. Hollow drops. Jimbo comes in for the challenge. He'll pick up the kill. Trades are there. 2v3. Maki Maki have numbers now. 3v1. Sib, your bomb carrier. Draza in the back spot. Cells have to play your life perfectly, but I think Cells is, he knows. He suspects he won't find the kill. Draza, 2v1.
Draza is the one person I think I'd have in a 1v2 situation. Well, 1v3, excuse me. He created the 1v2 situation, but usually B pushes don't work out that well. But Jimbo getting that rotation kill right off the bat was just absolutely huge for Maki Maki. And the fact they went and rotated and planted at A bomb is making this so difficult for Draza. He can only come from one way. You have to turn and bramble these players. He gets one. That's Jimbo down. Draza, this is completely doable in a 1v1 Sib versus Draza. You couldn't ask for anything better. Draza knows where he is. Draza tags him up. He's going to have to hit him fast. Oh, Sib is able to take him down. Looking scary for Maki Maki for just a second. Bomb was down. Not calling the game yet. Is 3-2 in round count. We're going to watch Jimbo get this kill on Des one more time. Woo! Good night, Des.
That's a must-win for Maki Maki. Going down 4-1 as opposed to 3-2, again, cannot reiterate how important it is to stay in this game, given the fact that, again, a similar situation. Sib almost clutches a 1v3. Then you look at a situation where Draza almost clutches a 1v3. Back and forth, these teams are so mirrored. And for now, it's a two-man split. The defense from Maki Maki, they try to cover all their angles, so far pushed up. Draza watching the entry from SGs. No one's there, but here come the nades from Cells. Trophy's down. It'll block it. Bomb has not moved up anywhere. Sib's rotating to Reskies in the back. They're going to find one. Finally, everyone gets traded out. It's 2 apiece for both sides. Decimate picks up Sib. 1v2. Jimbo last alive. Bomb in Nagafin's hands. Nagafin trying to stay up. They get the call. They need to collapse in on each other and just play the trade. They'll do so. Jimbo recognizes that is the call, and he's going to fall back and just try to play this a little bit smarter.
And that timing for Maki Maki was so unfortunate because Jimbo was on such a good flank, but he just wasn't able to clean up those 2 kills fast enough. And the trades ended up going in favor of mid-maps, and now they know where he is. Jimbo, though, on a 1v2 bomb still needs to go down. Looks like mid-maps are playing this very, very carefully. Starting to see some movement now. Jimbo thinks they rotated. He soon learns that that is not the case, and he has to haul back over to the A site where he might catch Des with his back turn. He's going to catch him. Des almost turns and burns. Naga had to get the one, but he wasn't able to. Jimbo able to clutch the 1v2 situation. I can't believe Des didn't even hear him behind him. Such unfortunate timing for both of them. Naga not able to clean it up. Fantastic.
You got to put that bomb down.
Out of Jimbo.
They waited way too long. You got to put that bomb down. I know they were trying to figure out where he was. Obviously, they're not sure of his position, but once you've burned about 5-6 seconds, he's off the play, and then you have the next 6 or so to make a decision. You got to put that bomb down and just trust in your teammate to watch over you. I know there's a lot of lanes to look over, but still basically wasted the entire offensive time. And now you're looking at a tie game, 3-3. Mr. Midmaps, again, trying to bring this bomb and play defense. There's one kill from Sib. Fellow will shut him down. They move on to the site. Bomb moves up as well. Team kill, doesn't matter. Traded there. Everyone starts to drop. Again, a 1v2 situation. Feels like we've said that 1,000 times so far in this game 5, but Cells, what do you have for us this time? Bomb is down. Need to pick it up. Nagafen and Decimate working in the back.
No, absolutely. Especially with the... Oh, they're able to take him down, but I was going to say, especially it being this A side, it's always down to the wire because trades go through so quickly, and unfortunately that team kill did kind of put Maki Maki in a very terrible situation. Hollow being picked by Des. Starting to see him heat up a little bit too. This is a much closer S&D than I thought we were going to get. I thought one of them was going to come out hot and start running with it, but we are pretty even across the board. Even Nagafen has warmed up. He is 3-4. Cells, though, slowed down a little bit on the side of Maki Maki. He is 2-6. Be a little scary more for mid-maps if he starts to warm up anytime soon, but 4-3. Advantage mid-maps. We're going to see another A party go down here in elevators. Trophies down. Ooh, fellow gets picked off from Sib in mid. One of you's got to be watching escalators.
Shots come out. Nagafen finds the kill. Here comes everyone, though. Draza out of position. Not much you can do. Sib will find the kill. 3v2. Now make it a 2v2. Decimate your bomb carrier. Jimbo cut down. Nagafen is there. The Guardian Angel. Sib has to take down Nagafen if they want a chance. 1v2. Nagafen, what a great challenge. The heads up. Pre-fire 5-3. Yep, okay, I can do math. And again, it just seemed like Nagafen was in right place, right time. He picks up the kill. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we were 3-3 going into this round.
Yes, we were.
So, okay, so yeah, it's probably just a little bit of a bug. It should be 4-3 mid-maps. I thought that I just got sucked into the Matrix and spit back out. So I'm like, wait a minute. But at this moment, I believe that is still the go. And at least they have the lead, so mid-maps can work with that.
Now across the board on side mid-maps, I mean, they all are slaying out. Cells is still sitting at 2 and 7. You know, I thought Draza, Sib, Jimbo, Des were going to be the deciding factor, but who knew it was going to come down to Nagafen and Cells to see who would heat up the fastest. It's looking like it's all on the side of mid-maps. Hollow, he's got some information on streets. Looks like another push from Maki. Maki trying to get the B. Jimbo gets that first blood once again, but instead, looks like they're going for the deep rotation back into A. A little bit of confusion going on here as we're running in circles back in the spawn. Draza will get that pick on the Sib. What looked like a good situation for Maki Maki. They now seem to be stuck in their spawn. Mid-maps starting to make their way up. See if they're going to catch anybody off guard here. Making their way through mid. Nothing yet. Bomb still needs to go down. 30 seconds left on the clock.
You got to get it down at some point. Again, a little bit hesitant. Maybe we'll rotate to B. They're trying to check all their corners, but if you're Bomb, you just got to go plant that and trust your teammate. I know it's a 3v3 still, though. Finally, it goes down. Hollow picks up Draza, and Hollow picks up 2. That makes it a lot easier. Decimate last alive. He won't find anything. And now it's 4-4. As again, Mr. Mid-Maps are at 4 rounds. Same with Maki Maki. It's just a bit of a tech thing on the screen, but all tied up. And that's kind of how this S&D has gone. It was a 3-1 lead, and Maki Maki needed to win round number 5. I can do math. So they don't go down 4-1. They make it 3-2. They make it 3-3. Mid-Maps take the next round up 4-3. Again, I can do math. Now it's all tied up 4-4. So this is a situation where, again, you're playing for essentially series point, and it comes down to first blood. No one grabbed Bomb. That's hilarious. Finally, Decimate will. And here come the stuns. So the fact that they didn't get Bomb off the rip, look how much free real estate it gives to Maki Maki. They're so far up on the site. No one else can go up from Mr. Mid-Maps because they lost the Bomb off the start. Now you have to decide, do you try to push this, or do you just call the audible to B, but they have no map control?
At this point, they just have to hope that somebody in Maki Maki decides to push up their spawn and try to play maybe play that pick, play this a little slower, but looks like they're going to give away the information that they're there, and I mean, they don't have time for this. They get 50 seconds. It looks like maybe deciding to make the rotation now and then kind of second guess yourself and run right back into elevators. Sib can make a huge play here if he decides to push through mid and shoot them all in the back, but I mean, 30 seconds left on the clock. Mid-maps have to do something. Fellow gets the free pick and escalators. I don't know what Sib was doing, but suddenly what was looking like a good round for Maki Maki mid-maps is just having their way. Draza with 2. He goes down, but this is a 1v3 situation. Cells gets down. Maki Maki, I'm wondering where the miscommunication there was because, I mean, they had the setup, but they let Draza and Fellow come in for 3.
I mean, it was just really COD timing on the Sib. There's not much he could do. Once he goes down, then that's when the audible gets called on the site, and that's when, if you're Maki Maki, you need to at least find the trade. And again, it should be 5-4, Mr. Mid-Maps. I believe we'll just get an update or figure out what exactly might happen, but at this moment, again, just being able to play through the middle of the map, they did what they needed to. They found the kills. Fellow, we can thank him for that. He picks up 1 in Eskies, and then from there, it's just playing trades on the site. I was waiting for them to make the rotation to B because they didn't grab Bomb off the start, so you lose all that positioning and the timing towards the site. But at this moment, again, I think that it's still... Okay, well, yes, correction, it was 6-4, Mid-Maps took it, and, okay, so they win the series in Game 5, they take it 3-2, and much closer than I think a lot of people were expecting, myself included. I thought this was going to be maybe 3-0, 3-1, but Maki Maki's credit, they brought it all the way back, right? Ali, talk to me, you know, again, Mid-Maps take the series, but Maki Maki, they put up a fight in that Game 5.
No, definitely. And it's like I said, I really feel like they're missing that leader. I really feel like if they had somebody in that game 5, and S&D, able to tell them what to do, where to go, like what's the right play, because it definitely looked like a lot of miscommunication falling into those later rounds, a lot of running in circles. But mid-maps, sure. I mean, it came down to Nagafin. I mean, who would have guessed it, but it came down to him heating up and catching up to the rest of his teammates and getting those kills. And I mean, they kept their composure. Composure beat adrenaline.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the map layout of the series and how essentially how the series basically went. It was Crossroads Hardpoint for game 1, 250-67. Of course, Mr. Midmaps took that. Then they went up 2-0 by winning 6-4 at S&D on Miami. Maki roared back 3-0 win in Control, 250-239 win on Garrison Hardpoint. Then we go the distance, 6-4, similar stat line, but much, much closer in the game 5 S&D. Mr. Midmaps again will take it. It was back and forth, 2-0 up by Mr. Midmaps. They look like they're on serious point. Maki stunned them back in the Control. They roar back in the hard point, and all the momentum is on their side. But finally, Mr. Midmaps pick up their first win in the CDL Challengers Elite Series. Maki fall to 0-5, and that most guarantees them to essentially be relegated out. Welcome back, Fox. First of all, how you doing? Second of all, just watching that series, right? It comes down to the wire. Both these teams sitting at the bottom of kind of the standings. What did you see from Mr. Midmaps that impressed you?
Thank you for asking, because it's always a pleasure to get to watch players like Fellow drop 40-plus kills in a respawn game mode. I think that we got to see just stellar gameplay coming from some of the veterans. We saw them come with that intensity. And like you said, it was back and forth. It was a real fight from both sides, but I'm sorry I ever counted out the S&D legends on that squad.
Yeah, and throughout the entire series, again, we're looking at S&D to be the crux for most teams. That is make or break. And when you look at this roster, Decimate and Fellow and Nagafen, Draza, they all stood out in their respective moments. But in the Control, a little bit shaky. Ali looking at those hard points, though, they looked like, even with that loss in Game 4, they looked like they were close to kind of figuring out the jigsaw puzzle that is this roster. Were you seeing progressions and improvements throughout the series, or do you think that it's just going to take more and more time for them to get everything going?
I definitely saw some really good moments. I will take them more time regardless, because again, they did have a fantastic series, and they're probably feeling really good going into this next series, knowing that they can hang with these younger players and how fast and aggressive that they play. So they're probably feeling good about to go up the New York Subliners Academy team. But the Control, they can kind of just swipe that under the rug. Control is just one game mode out of 5, so if they can keep hanging with their S&Ds and they can keep getting better at hardpoint, they can kind of sweep Control under the rug and kind of be like, all right, we got 3-0'd, let's not focus on that, let's get better at our other game modes first. So I'm definitely seeing some great moments out of them, Spaceman.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a look at the schedule, folks. Let's just see kind of where we sit tonight, because there's only one more series coming up. It is Subliners Academy versus Mr. Midmaps. That's going to be the one we close with. But to start the day, it was Europe. Train Hard, who swept their way through Connect 4, a series that I and a lot of people thought Connect 4 should win, but Train Hard had all the capabilities to take them down. They do so. Team Singularity sweep their way through Team 3G. Again, a battle of the bottom. Singularity and 3G needed to win that series desperately. 3G fall. Mr. Midmaps, same situation against Maki. They take it in Game 5. A better performance from both these teams than many expected, but at the end of the day, Mr. Midmaps get their first series win in the Challenger Elite program. Maki fall to 0-5. Unfortunately, that might be the nail in the coffin for at least their run through the Challenger Series. And for Subliners Academy and Mr. Midmaps, listen, I know that anything is possible. I know that Midmaps looked like they played a lot better, and they did. But Subliners is arguably, outside of Western, the #1 team in North America. They are smoking everyone. This is going to be either a bloodbath or a very close series. There is no way about it. Fox, what are you looking at in this? Do you think that Mr. Midmaps have a legitimate chance, or do you think that the New York Subliners Academy are just too much to handle?
Hey, look, I think this is when they start shaking. They just barely get by the skin of their teeth in this Game 5, and now they're up against the toughest competition in their region. There's no reason to expect Subliners to do what they've been doing and what they're certainly capable of in this series, and that's closing out against Midmaps.
Allie, looking at New York Subliners Academy, a lot of names on this roster, a lot. You're looking at Saints, you're looking at Spark. Like, what do you do if you're mid-maps? What do you do against a roster that is not only so stacked, but like their matches, I'm just going through the notes, they have not been close. They've been smoking people 3-0, 3-1. What do you do? What's the key to Mr. Mid-Map success?
Well, I'm going to disagree a little bit with Fox here, just because the one map before this series that mid-maps were able to take off of somebody was Wester, which is arguably one of the top teams in NA that can hang with the Subliners. So I'm not going to go as far as saying mid-maps will be able to take this series. I do believe they will get swept a little bit under the rug, but I expect some pleasant surprises out of mid-maps, especially coming off the series a bit hot as they are. I expect at least a little bit of a contest coming from them.
Well, one of the best ARs in North America, at least on the Amateur side, Clove Frosty. We will be seeing him coming up next with the New York Subliners Academy. That does it for this moment. We're going to throw to a commercial break, and when we come back, the final series of North America. This is day one of your CDL 2021 Call of Duty Challengers Elite Series, and when we return, we will close it out with North America, New York Subliners Academy versus Mr. Mid-Maps. We'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back to the 2021 CDL Challengers Elite Week number 2. My glasses just popped out. That's cool. But guess what? We're going to take a look at the schedule because this is one more map to go. I can only see with half my face. But Allie, welcome back. Hope you had a nice break. Hello, Fox. How you doing? But this is the final matchup of the day. We got Mr. Mid-Maps, New York Subliners Academy. I'm excited to see the #1 team in North America finally show that they have what it takes to remain in that position. For Mr. Mid-Maps, of course, you just won your first series of the Challengers Elite program, and now we ask the question: do they have the capabilities, the firepower, the wherewithal to bring it to a series win against New York Subliners Academy? But the schedule's been a hectic one today. It's been a fun one as well. We saw Team Singularity and 3G going at it. Singularity took them down. We saw Connect 4 losing earlier to Train Hard, and Mr. Mid-Maps defeat Maki Maki 3-2 in Game 5. Fox, coming to you. Looking at the matches today, which one stood out to you, whether it was most impressive, most exciting? What did you like seeing today?
I gotta say, I loved watching Train Hard play, seeing the old gangster squad get picked up by a new organization and have a pretty awesome signing day such as this one was really thrilling to watch, and I'm looking forward to see what else they do in the European region.
And Allie, looking at just the matches we've been able to cast, right? You're looking at earlier, Train Hard defeating Connect 4, Mid-Maps, Maki Maki. Same question to you. What stood out to you in these matches today?
It's definitely been like some pleasant surprises from teams we didn't expect to show up as much as they did. Also a little predictable overall. The only one that really took me by surprise was Mid-Maps and Maki Maki, although on the side of Space and Fox, I feel like they predicted that one pretty well. So only me, I'm the only one down bad, but I am excited for our next match because of Mid-Maps coming off hot. But yeah. I do think, of course, that New York will still take it, the Academy team, just because they have Saints as their veteran player, and then he's surrounded by a bunch of young guns. And I feel like that is like a perfect team dynamic, is to have fresh players with the leadership of old. So I'm excited to watch what they can do.
Yeah, I look at this New York Subliners Academy crew. I look at Glow Frosty, Prolute, Saints, and Spart. And again, where do you go wrong on this team? What facet are you not happy with? You have S&D stars. You have Hardpoint gods. You've got Control dominators. Like Prolute, again, one of those players that stood out last season. And I just look at the makeup of this roster. And Fox, I just want to get your quick thoughts. What does this team do so well? And do you think they're going to remain #1 in North America?
I mean, I think it's the fact that they have, one of the strongest professionals we've seen play in the COD League on this team. Saints is a force. I think it's interesting to see someone like him put into this position where he is the eldest on the roster, right? I'd be interested to see what the chemistry of this team is like. We got, maps coming up for you here so we can see what's going to unfold in this matchup.
Yeah, let's take a look at the series layout, because you guys know how it is. We got Hardpoint in Game 1. Wow, what a surprise. But what are the maps actually going to look like? Guess what? Crossroads up first, Miami, Garrison, Checkmate, and Moscow. So essentially, if we flip Games 3 and 4, it's the repeat of last series. So it seems like at this moment, Allie, since we just watched Mr. Mid-Maps, they like Crossroads, they like Miami, and they like going to Moscow if they have to go the distance. Are you seeing the same thing?
I am seeing the same layout, other than Garrison and Checkmate did a little bit of a flip-flop here. So we will be having Garrison Control and Checkmate Hardpoint. So hopefully they fare a little bit better on Checkmate than they did on Control. But we're going to hop right into Crossroads Hardpoint.
Well, Fox, we thank you for joining us. I miss you already, bro. But we have to say goodbye. We have to get into our final series of the night. Let's get into Game 1 on Crossroads. It's Subliners Academy versus Mr. Mid-Maps. And if there was ever a Game 1 Hardpoint, Alley, that I look at and I say, okay, this is the map to do it on. Yeah, the map where they won 250-67 might be that map. Mr. Mid-Maps, a lot on the line, so much to be asked of. That's English. And I think they can do it. It's going to take a heroic effort from everyone involved.
Already trades going back and forth on this P1 Subliners, so nothing too surprising. Already have control of the point. They also have spawns for next. 42 seconds left in this hard point, but already mowing them down. Glow Frosty starting off hot at 2-0. Draza, a little bit of a slow start out of him. He is 0-1 on side of Mid-Maps. Looks like no rotation just yet. Draza maybe trying to slip past, but what a spawn out on Fellow. He spawned in the back of Subliners. Haven't gotten wind of it just yet. Flip out. It's all up to Draza if he can get this kill and try to fight for those spawns, but he gets caught by Prolute, and already Subliners dominating.
And again, this is going to be the danger of this roster. You look at ProLoot, you look at Saints, and Glowfrosty. Glowfrosty, who last season was a standout AR, probably one of the best amateur ARs in the entire world. 5-2 on a 3 spree, already 21 seconds in the hill. Now we move to the lower annex, a full 60 to fight over. 34 seconds in counting, only one single point for mid-maps, and Saints lights up the kill feed with 2 kills. He's trying to find 3, but Nagafen and Decimate combine for a couple, and they start to finally find themselves moving towards the hill. They have to run through Spark, gets caught trading guns. Unfortunately, he will drop. But with 36 seconds to go, they can still find themselves back in this game, crawling back from that lead that has been ever so growing as Subliners Academy are out ahead in this market.
The amount of trades have gone back and forth. I'm shocked to look at the stat line of Minmaps only having 4 seconds compared to Subliners 48 seconds. But they do have spawns going in for next, and they could get a very good hold here if they just decide to give up this 14 seconds, which it looks like they are. The little group up in the middle here, Saints is going to make them pay. That's an easy 2 at tank for him, but no reinforcements just yet. So Minmaps need to hold here if they want to get any time to get back into this game.
And even on that late rotation, they're able to get maybe like 6 seconds. That's it. Finally, we move to fire. P3 popped up. They're going to be there first, but ProLoot's in from the front. He's able to pick up 1. Will not get the second. Saints comes in with the trade, and Glowfrosty is there through the back. Spart working together. They'll get the early time, and they'll get the break, and they're also getting the kills in spawn. Look how far out Mr. Mid-Maps are spawning. However, they have numbers. They can work together. It's Fellow with the entry kill. Fellow with the second as well. Decimate now on your screen. Inside fire. Can he find the pick? He will do so. Spart will drop. The nades come in. He gets stuck. No problem. No foul. 78 seconds to 22. They're starting to work their way back into this game, but you only got 20 or so seconds left. Now we look at that rotation. We're going to P4. We're going to munitions. Decimate has to win this gunfight. He does so, and he keeps the spawns there for Mr. Mid-Maps.
The time going towards Minmaps is looking a little bit more their way, especially because they also have spawns going into next, and they could easily get back into this game if they hold this full 60, which is very possible on this ammunition hill. And Des and Old just getting all the kills in the top and bottom. He loses the gunfight against ProLoot, but nothing too dangerous yet as they are still spawning in the back, and suddenly we start to see the game slow down a little bit as Subliners try to make their way through ice. And number 8, that's going to be ProLoot, makes his way through. He just has to play his life here to get the 2Bs. He does get taken down. Subliners. Suddenly, what was a 40 gap is now slowly dwindling to 20 to 30 points. Minmaps hanging very well with Subliners, like I said they possibly would.
Nate cuts the front. Saints on your screen has to work through the back. He'll get cut down. Great call out from Mr. Mid-Maps. Again, 84 to 70, 14-point game, still doable. So much time on this hill left. We look at the strap, the AR anchor in the back, but Glowfrosty is picking up. Never mind. He was going to pick up kills left to right. I guess that's just not going to happen. Decimate takes him down. He finds the kill on a 2 spree. Looking for one more. Saints will close out that one. And we have basically a tie game. So what was essentially a disastrous start from Mr. Mid-Maps, they bring it back. They're able to control fire. They control those back munitions on P4. We go to the second set of rotations, and now the new hill pops. Let's go to P1. The first kill comes from Spark, and the second. Nagafen on your screen, looking for Frosty. He'll take down ProLoot, so I'll take one, but he can't get both. Saints cuts down one towards the ladder. And again, they're just trying to move their way into the hill, and Mr. Mid-Maps are doing a great job of getting time and fighting the gunfights inside and winning them when they need to. Fellow cuts down 2. The AR starting to light up for Mid-Maps.
Decimate was doing an absolute fantastic job in mid, just keeping Subliners off of them from coming in from that fired cut. But Subliners, once again, they're showing that they are the best team by continuing to break Mid-Maps no matter how much they push back. But they do need to go for spawns here. Mid-Maps is in a favorable position. Draws is trying to hold this top tier. He doesn't know that Saints is right below him, so he could slip past, and they are losing this last 20 seconds on this P1 hill. Number 2 on your mini map, that's Fellow. He does spawn out as well as Des. Subliners once again are just absolutely breaking straight through the hold that Mid-Maps thought they had. Jaws is trying to make some noise though. That's 2 on him. He could flip spawns out. Looks like number 7 and 5 and Subliners are starting to spawn out. What a beautiful break out of Mid-Maps. They are hanging well, but they are still down 30 points. They can hold this last 40 seconds. Again, this is a much closer game than I think any of us anticipated.
Well, they're keeping up with the slaying. Mid-Maps have been able to match the firepower from Subliners Academy, and they'll take down 2 more. As the kill feed starts to light on up, we go to the lower annex. Second set of rotations. You got one will funnel in. Draza gets that kill, and he'll follow up. Still plenty of time. 20 seconds to go. Let's look at the rotation. Take a look at your mini-map. On to fire. We will look. Decimate is there, and he needs to stay alive. He gets cut down. Subliners Academy are in a right position off the back of Prolude's two-piece, and they'll have the early time as they keep the spawns out from Mr. Mid-Maps. They have to make the long rotation, but Prolude feeling very cheeky cross-map for the moment. They'll have the early pop and a full 60 to fight over, but now they have to crawl back into the lead. So Mr. Mid-Maps have done such a great job of breaking and holding time. Now it comes to, can you finally get into fire and flip those spawns so you get set up for munitions?
Drowsy, try and get a couple kills top here. This is such a difficult hill to break, especially when all of Subliners is inside, but that is no problem for Des as he slides right in and gets the trades. He gets 3, but Saints ends out on top in the end. Very back and forth game here, folks. Subliners do have the spawns for next week, so they are in a more favorable position, but I mean, on both sides, I mean, all teams are up right now. Saints with 2 outside on P1. Glowfrosty picks up Fellow. We might see a little more stability going into this next rotation out of Subliners.
The front nade. Things slow down. Gunfights on the outside of the hill. Favor both teams. Decimate peeking. Decimate alive. Decimate dead. Saints still on your screen. Has no idea where the gunshots are coming from, but they're from behind. Fellow picks up the kill. The lead continues to grow. We set up in munitions. Here comes a nade from Saints. He's going to work through the backline. Has to take down Draza. Will do so. One more is Decimate. Does he know Decimate's around? He surely does. And he finds the foot, picks up the kill. That's such a big one as well. Saints leaving the spawns back there and picking up a couple to slow the stop, slow the spread of Mr. Mid-Maps coming in and flooding that front hill. We go to P4. Glow Frosty set up inside. Frosty at 20 and 15. Saints at 26 and 17. Never mind, 2 minutes for Glow Frosty. He's racked up a ton of time. And now we're looking at scrap time territory, where all you need to do if you're Subliners Academy is fight for the last 20 or so, and you can win this game. They're about to close in on 200, and they'll do it just now.
The last thing Mid-Maps needed was to slow the game down, and now you see the Subliners getting more comfortable and kind of changing the pace to them, and we're seeing Mid-Maps really suffer here from that as they started to slow down. Nagafan 19 and 23, Draza even across the board, Des even across the board, Fellow 23 and 20. At this point, it's not even about outslaying, because Liners are just holding the objective so much better now. Saints calling in streaks. He finds one. Not that they really needed it. They only need about 30 more points to close out this game.
But with Saints running like this, 3 kills in a row, 29 and 19, 1 away from a 30 bomb. No one else is getting near the hill. Finally, Mr. Mid-Maps will get possession back. But you have to start getting the kills as well. Translate that into some positive time. Draza picks up 1. And they'll lock down the last 20 or so seconds, barring a 2 push. As here comes Spart. He will not last long. 1 from the side, he'll get cut down. And I love the aggression from Mid-Maps, fighting for every single second. They are set up for Annex. And now you have to start putting numbers over there as well. 1 gets cut down from the back. That is Decimate. Nagafan looking for the final kill. He will not find it. When we go to transition, rotations, all the same words. Synonyms are awesome. Subliners Academy only about 28 points away from closing out game 1.
Huge flip out of the Fellow there as he was playing his life for P2, but unfortunately the cavalry was not there to help him. Subliners looking to close it out here on this hill. You see how tight they are playing to this P2, just waiting for Mid-Maps to start running in so they can get those trades out, but Mid-Maps are able to contest it for a bit. They're getting some time going their way, but they have to play perfect hardpoint here if they expect to come back from this huge deficit of almost 50 points.
Yeah, you need to play every single second. You cannot afford to give up even 10. At that moment, the game's basically done. But hey, they're getting the kills, right? Here's the 2. Nope, never mind. Gonna have a chance for a couple. Will not work. Traza, try to find 1. Not gonna happen. Big gunfight from Spart. So 2 will try to move to a little Annex. But Nagafan and Decimate and Fellow combine for 4. That's a full team wipe. And they'll hold on to the last 10 or so. Fellow on your screen. Shots ring out. Saints on the other side will not be on the receiving end. As Draza has a couple of utilities he can use. Now we slow things down. Let's go to fire. Big gunfight win in the front. There goes Draza. He finds the opening. 205, 235. This is entirely doable with Draza getting kills like that. Spart will take him out. And now you need to challenge. Mid-Maps have to commit numbers here. They don't have the numbers to do it, though. Here come New York Subliners Academy. Only need 7 more seconds. Allie, a couple waves kills. That'll do it. And that'll close out game 1. New York Subliners Academy win it 250 to 206.
Of course, that win on Subliners Academy is very within parameters of expectations, but mid-maps, I mean, they showed some promising moments. It was definitely close a couple of times there. They definitely showed some promise, and it makes you think going into this next map if they're feeling a little bit more confident. I mean, obviously you go down a 1, but you have a whole series left to go. You just won one series, and you are hanging close with one of the top teams in NA. I'm feeling pretty good if I'm mid-maps.
Yeah, again, a much closer hardpoint than I think we both expected. While they did come in from that last series against Maki and win the hardpoint in Crossroads Game 1, still, subliners at the end of the day, a win is a win, right? You move through. The Academy team looks very, very good. A lot of that comes from the back of Saints, and the fact that Saints is so controlled all the way throughout Game 1. The fact that he's always in the right place, right time, picking up clutch kills that help feed the team, facilitate through mid-map. Game 1 was really a showing of just how good the firepower of the Subliners Academy team can be. Maki played it almost to perfection, but they were not able to get over the hill of that large comeback. Finally, they started to rack up some time near the end, but when it came down to getting the crucial kills when they needed to, that's where they came up short. That's where most teams do. And again, looking at that Game 1, Crossroads Hardpoint, it was a map that Maki struggled against. They struggled on against Mr. Mid-Maps, and a lot of that was thanks to Decimate and Fellow. Let's take a look at the replays. And Subliners Academy just kind of ate their way through this game. They picked up kill after kill after kill, racked up a ton of time, jumping out 6 to 16 or 24 to 1 at one point at the start of the game. It just seemed like it was too much to handle even down the stretch.
And Subliners, I mean, they just look so good. And some of the decision making that I saw, when they hit that last P2 hill for not even 16 seconds as a team, I was worried for a second because, Crossroads spawns can be so wishy-washy, and should that have gone just a little bit wrong, mid-maps could have spawned behind them, and those next 2 hills could have gone completely different, but they ended up still keeping spawns and closing out the game the last 2 hills, and they've been playing incredibly well. The trades have been going through, all of them across the board have fantastic KDs. I mean, Spart with a minute in hill time, Glowfrosty with 2 minutes in hill time. I mean, absolutely insane.
Yeah, and now we take a little bit of a look ahead towards Miami S&D, and this is going to be an interesting one. If you go down 0-2, if you're Mr. Mid-Maps, that is hard to come back from. That is going to be very difficult, especially in a map like Miami where you've had success in just the last series, but I feel like they can do it. I feel like this is a map where they've shown success. We just saw they looked comfortable on Miami. It didn't look like they were having to come from behind, but again, this is an absolute win case. That's not a word. This is absolute win-win scenario for them. They got Miami coming up next for S&D. They're S&D gods. And Miami is a map where they've thrived on. Here's a look at the map layout. Miami for Game 2, Garrison for Control, Checkmate if we go to Game 4, and Moscow, you guys know the deal, to round it out. So after that Game 1 win, the ball is in Subliners' court. Do they decide to continue to put on the pressure and close up Miami, or will we see tied up 1-1 going into Game 3 Control? You know what, Allie? I'm going with mid-maps. I think they're going to do it. I think this is a map that favors them a little bit. They can get comfortable. They can slow the game down. And with how close Game 1 was, I think that they're going to be able to tie this series up.
I'm almost there with you, except for the fact that when we did watch mid-maps play Miami, that they did start to let go of a couple of rounds in a row. And I feel like with a team like Subliners Academy, should they kind of let that happen again, Subliners will punish them for it. Maki, it was a little bit of it was a lower team, the bottom 2 teams in the NA bracket. And I feel like with a team like Subliners, you can't let them get the momentum like that, because they will take it and they will run with it. So unless mid-maps closes it out very quickly and very swiftly, I feel like we'll be looking at a 2-0 lead on the side of Subliners.
I always tend to lean towards your advice because, again, you have been a competitor for such a long time, and we've watched a lot of Call of Duty, but I do think that you bring up a lot of good points. And at the end of the day, Miami it's a large map, right? There's no question about it. There is a lot of room to move around on Miami, and if you're going to go to South Beach, you better make sure you're prepared, because if you're not, Fellow and Draza are going to eat you alive. But if there was ever a team that could probably counter that, you're looking at Glowfrosty and Saints, those two on this team. Glowfrosty and Saints. Saints is an S&D phenom. He's been around forever. How many times have we talked about him in the pro setting at an event where his S&D helped carry a team to a championship? Saints knows what it needs to be done, how to get it done, how to do it. And I look at Prolute, who again was a standout last year. And I think that on this team with Spart, they have a very good core group of 4. And New York Subliners picked up a great academy team, and they're number 1 with Wester respectively for a reason. So going into this S&D, I want to get your map, or I guess your score prediction for the map. I am going to take, because I said I'm going mid map, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm taking 6-4. I think they're going to be able to edge it out. What are you thinking?
I see it might go the opposite. Subliners taking it 6-4, just because I feel like mid maps might catch them by surprise a little bit, but once Subliners kind of falls into their grooves, they'll just kind of start running with it. And we talk a lot about, the people that we pay attention to going into a map, who we think is going to be kind of the game changer. And mid maps, I feel like they all have to be. We saw really good moments of Fellow just absolutely taking over a map, dropping 40 kills. We saw Draza taking over an S&D. We've seen Des take over an S&D. We saw Naga show up there in the last series and the last map. So I feel like if all of them show up as their best, they have the possibility of taking this Miami S&D. But right now, going into it right off the bat, I'm definitely favoring Subliners.
Well, if we can get Draza to be as universally hated across the board as he was in that last S&D that he played in, because and by they, I mean everyone left in a 1v2 against him, Maki, they hated him existing on this map because he was a problem. I'm just gonna tell you right now, he was an absolute problem, but the game is ready to go. We are loaded in, and if Draza can be universally hated, then you're probably going to see them walk away with this map, but you also need a big performance from him again. I look at the other side, you have S&D stars across the board for New York Subliners Academy. Draza has to have a big game, Nagafen, and as well as Fellow. All right, Decimate there too. You all have to step up and continue to have a big series like we've seen so far today, and we'll see if they can do it in Game 2.
Already, we're seeing a B push out of Mr. Mid Maps. Fellow got a little information on mid. I'm surprised Subliners didn't rotate from A after they saw those gunshots. Maybe they didn't get that information like I would have thought they would have. But number 7 and 8, Saints and Spartans playing very slow on this B site, just waiting to get a first pick. I love this play out of Subliners. You slowly start seeing the rotation come in, and they made it into Garage, but they're going to be running right into Saints pre-fire. He gets the information on Naga, but unable to finish the kill. He can go ahead and dip out, relay that information to his teammates, and say, see you later. Go ahead and give up that platform control.
Glow Frosty near the doorway, Spark in the very back of the alley. And Spark gets info. He's going to call it out to Frosty, and Frosty might move in for the kill. He might do so. Yeah, he will. Spark's going to pick it up instead. Double kill to land in the kill feed. Decimate takes down Saints. Everyone's starting to drop. Woo! Decimate gets 3 kills somehow. And you're left in a 1v1. Draza, last alive versus Prolute. Draza has bomb, and they're just chasing each other towards top piano. Prolute's playing this so well. He might catch him. He did. Just wait for him to go for the plan. 8 seconds. And this should be a round 1 win for Subliners Academy. Oh my god. How do you not finish the kill?
How do you not finish the kill? Oh, the timer, though. The timer saves Prolute. I can only imagine Des and Draza's ear like, I did not just kill all 3 of them for you to not win this round, but the timer saves Prolute and his missed shots. Des, though, is 3. Jesus.
Well, luckily you're on defense, so you can afford that, but oh, a little bit of a heart attack. Didn't think I'd expect that in Game 2 off the start, but okay, guess that's how we're playing it. 1-0 lead for Subliners Academy. A long S&D to go, and I am excited. Who's going to be our bomb carried? It will be Prolute off the start, 1-0. And they might be taking this one to A, and his 3 players will run up through poolside. And all the way pushed up is Fellow. He might meet them right as they come around the bend. If Nagafen spots them crossing, he might do it. And Nagafen is top visitors at the moment.
Fellow heard him. Fellow heard the slide coming from Saints. He's gonna catch him. Catches Prolute. He's gonna catch Saints. Saints now in a very dangerous situation. All on his lonesome. Sandwiched between Fellow and Nagafen. This is the last situation I would want to be in. 4v2.
The slow rotation from Spark. Saints, perfect timing. Gets 1. Nagafen still up top. Visitors has not moved in like 3 minutes. He's still there. And Nagafen peeks. He could get the kill, but A little bit hesitant to do so, and now the collapse comes in. Look at mid-map. They're starting to funnel through. Draza is leading the charge. Spark has to pick up one. He can't line up on Draza. Saints takes down Nagafen, and this is still doable. Sparks gets the kill. 2v1, the flip from a 4v2. Decimate last alive. He's got nowhere to go. He's sandwiched, and the retake onto A. Picture-perfect textbook retake onto the site. New York Subliners Academy just absolutely demolish mid-maps towards that site.
That was absolutely beautiful. The patience out of Saints to just sit there waiting for Fellow and Nagafen to make a move and mess up and waiting for his teammate to rotate all the way from the other bomb site. I mean, that was an absolutely beautiful 2v4 out of them.
In a round that mid-maps should have won, probably, most likely, honestly. 2-0 lead, and it's not super detrimental. It's only 2 rounds, but you give away stuff like that, it makes 1v2s and 1v3s a little bit easier for Subliners Academy. In a 4v2, or I guess 2v4 win. And Nagafen on your screen, looking for Pro League towards mid-map. Knows shots rang out, but doesn't know from where. And their trophy goes down. Bomb moving up. Decimate bottom piano is going to rotate towards the back alley. And we slow things down.
Can't say I'm a big fan of this mid push, as right off the bat, Subliners Academy got the information of what they were doing, and now they can just sit and wait for one of them to peek out and make a decision on which bomb site to go to. Clock is ticking, 45 seconds. Glow Frosty. Draza is trying to make a move here. Perluke finds one over on the A site, leaving Draza on his lonesome. Bomb is down. He has to pick it up. You have 30 seconds. Midmaps may play this a little too slow as Subliners are just sitting and wait.
Finally, one will drop. Down. Jeez. There goes Spart. Kills start to fall. 3v2. Bomb back in hands of Draza. Proloot picks up one. Fellow gets cut down. And just when you think the play's starting to develop, everything starts to collapse. And at this moment, Subliners Academy in full control of the field. Nagafen couldn't go anywhere. Proloot picks him up, takes control of top visitor, and at that moment, that round was done.
Miami is definitely not one of those maps where you can kind of sit mid and make a decision. It's definitely you have to dedicate one or the other side and try to get that takeover on either bomb site, because, I mean, the second that they went to cross mid, Subliners had the information, and they didn't really have to move from their positions from there on out because they had that information. Subliners are kind of going for the same strat, but playing it a lot faster, trying to slip through here in half wall. Saints is going to get absolute amazing timing. Wait, Draza and them just go in top piano. Absolutely no information that Subliners is right behind them, but somehow the trades go through on the side of mid-maps. It's now a 2v1. Saints left by himself. What a weird COD timing that was, but Fellow and Naga on the rotation. Saints, this is a very doable 1v2 right now. He just has to wait for one of them to peek out.
Well, they're sticking it. He's going to get the defuse off. Yeah, this is absolutely what you do. You just stick it. They finally get their first round. Mr. Midmaps, just call the right play. If you don't know where he is, you're working together, why the hell not?
With Fellow here, he's a little peeky Glow Frosty, and this is why we don't go mid, ladies and gentlemen, because Fellow is pre-aiming it in a corner at A site. Miami, again, is a very heavy commit bomb site map. Mid-map showing some promise, though. Fellow 3-3, Fidesz 4-4. A little slow out of Draza and Naga. Bomb is going to be in the hands of Nagafen. It looks like we're going to head on over to the B site full commit here. 2 players are on A site from Subliners, so mid-maps moves fast enough. They could easily take control of this bomb site. Information's out. Draza just pre-firing. You could get 2 right there, but Saints able to catch 1. Draza, Saints get a second with the nade. What unlucky timing for Draza. Trophies down. Saints is just going to play his life. He doesn't know that Fellow is right next to him, though. Beautiful play out of Fellow. 2v2.
Bomb still in the hands of Nagafen. You have Frosty at mid-map who needs to rotate into Proloot. And now the commit, it has to come to be. You can't really cross with only 40 seconds to go, but they're thinking about it. Fellow watching through, Proloot playing so slow. Frosty spots him. Great call out as well. Working together to lock down mid-map. Nagafen will get the bomb down. And they're going to play time. Instead of just collapsing in on the site, Nagafen's going to escape. He might catch them one at a time and just run back to the bomb and play the corners. There goes Frosty. He's going to get the challenge. No chance. Nagafen gets shut down in a 2v1. The clutch comes in. Subliners Academy will get the defuse, go up 4-1 in S&D.
He had the right idea, but Glow Frosty peeked him first. So now Subliners will be up 4-1 on the S&D. Definitely not seeing the mid-maps that we were hoping to see from the Miami earlier in our earlier series today. But again, nothing outside surprising parameters. Gonna watch Saints double again. Nade goes down, draws the slides right into it. Unfortunately, already weak.
And again, the first blood, the opening couple of kills. Once you go down 2 players, it is not the same as years prior. You are down 2, and that stinks. 4-1 lead Subliners. And this Academy team has been essentially a perfect investment for the Subliners brand. They have been walking their way through each series, and the talent on this roster is only rivaled by really that of Wester. Both teams fighting for the #1 spot, but Mr. Midmap's just fighting not to get relegated out of the Challengers Elite Series. Fellow, Beachside. Joined by Nagafen. Nagafen again towards that top visitor area. We've seen him there before, and we're going to try to ping for streaks. We know Fellow is at the outskirts. He picks up Prelude, bomb down. Frosty takes down Fellow. So at least you know no one's in the back line, and you know that Nagafen is quick to go up towards top visitors. So you're thinking, if you get the bomb down quickly or get someone to rotate over, take him out, you have a free sight. Only question is, how long do you take for this play to develop? They're going to get the bomb down. I love the play.
He's getting tagged a little bit. He's going to run back and try to lay this bomb once again, just trusting his teammates to watch over him. But Naga does get the pick off of him. So that's now no more streaks on side of Subliners. And Saints is down in the 2v2 situation, but Naga is able to take another one. Now, this is a Naga we needed to see, but he gets taken down by Glow Frosty. It is now a 1v1 situation. Bomb is down 16 seconds. He has to plant it. And Draza knows. Draza knows he has to lay it. Draza's just waiting for the angle.
Did Frosty see him?
Glow Frosty.
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, what a challenge.
And the through the car goes through. Oh, how unfortunate for Draza.
Just the heads-up play. At the end of the day, that rhymes. Frosty found 3. He picks up Nagafen. Again, just the recognition that, hey, I could plant this. I'm probably going to get shot. Doesn't matter. Let's just go for the challenge. I wasn't sure if he saw them, but as soon as that peek comes in, you know he's thinking the right thing. Subliners Academy up 5-1, 1 round away from going up 2-0 in the series.
Min-maps here. It's now or never. Looks like we're going to get a full B-bomb commit. Please, no more mid-map plays. Only 2 members from Subliners are there to answer them. But we've seen how that's gone before, especially if it's Saints, and it is. He already gets first blood right off the bat. Mid-maps just getting picked apart by Saints and Glow Frosty, the duo themselves.
Well, Spart and Frosty will combine for 2. 1v3, Fellow. I've seen you do it before. Will we see you do it again? Now is the time. There's the streak. So they know where he is. They know he's at B. The numbers start to funnel in. Look at your minimap. Everybody is flying towards his position. Fellow's got nowhere to go. Bomb is down. Frosty is all the way over in Visitor, so he can't run through mid-map. Prelude's going to come in for the challenge. And Fellow still alive somehow. How is this possible? He's getting chased from the back. Yeah, he's got nowhere to go. He's trying to punch him, but not going to work. Thought for a minute. Was going to scream. Not going to happen. 6-1. Subliners Academy. They take map 2 S&D. They take it on Miami. They go up 2-0 the series.
Now again, this is within expected parameters. Subliners, you know, they've been dominating thus far. Why wouldn't they continue to? But it was refreshing to see mid-maps a little bit, you know, show up in the first hard point. But now that they're down 2-0, it's not looking so good for them.
Well, at this moment, you're going into control, and looking back into the last series, right? We only have 1 control per series. Mr. Mid-maps struggled at that. They got blown out. So just looking at a recap of that S&D, right, it was basically First Blood City. That's how it constantly was. Subliners Academy continued not only clutches by Glow Frosty, not only clutches by Saints, but the ability to make the game as difficult as possible for Mr. Mid-maps, regardless of what they were throwing on the field. Miami is not a forgiving map if you're out of position. And again, let's look at some replays. Subliners Academy just found a way to work within the parameters of the map. They continue to make things difficult. They made life hell for mid-maps, and the consistency of the clutch gene, the clutch factor, the continuity for Glow Frosty always being in the right place, right time, and winning those crucial gunfights to give them the 5-1 edge. I mean, what more could you ask for? They really just ran away with the S&D.
Absolutely. I mean, Subliners, even when they were down, they were never out. I mean, the 2v4 already packed that in for them. Mid-maps, they just couldn't bring it back. What seemed like such a favorable situation just kept getting choked in unfortunate situations. And we saw that plenty of times, especially with Traza and getting wall banged in that car. It's just an unfortunate situation for them after each other. But like I said, they're going against the top team, Subliners, arguably the best team in NA, tied with Wester. They took a map off of Wester. They have yet to take a map off of Subliners, but again, down 2-0 in the series. Going a Control out of their last series where they got 3-0'd. I can't imagine their hopes are too high.
Yeah, this is going to be dangerous because you're going to Garrison, which is a map that Subliners Academy are pretty good at. And by pretty good, like, they rarely lose. Let's take a look at the map layout for the rest of this series. And again, this is going to be a dangerous one. Garrison Control, we saw what happened last time Control was played with Mr. Midmaps. They played it on Checkmate. They didn't stand a chance. They got literally smoked. Garrison Control coming up for Game 3. Checkmate Game 4 Hardpoint. Moscow S&D to round out a necessary, if necessary, Game 5, I should say. But at this moment, I believe we're almost ready to go into game number 3. And the fact that it's Control on Garrison, I am looking at Proloot, I'm looking at Frosty. Frosty's going to have a field day towards the top of radar. He's going to have a field day at the catwalk. When you talk about locking down lights, you're looking at Saints, you're looking at Proloot. This is going to be a tough one. Do I think mid-maps can do it? Absolutely. But if we're just going off sample size here, which is essentially the start of any season, they struggled mightily in the last Control. I don't care that it was Checkmate. I care the fact that they got blown out in the kill column. They could not bounce back. And that does worry me going into Game 3. So I have to look at this, and I have to say that Subliners Academy, they should win this Garrison Control, and it might be a blowout.
No, absolutely. And, I tried to talk about last series, how it could possibly, maybe it was just a map thing. Maybe Checkmate Control just happened to be their absolutely worst map and they got really unlucky in vetoes. So, and the Garrison, maybe I have a little bit of dangling hope for mid-maps, but I feel like Saints is about to have the time of his life. And I'm worried. I'm worried for mid-maps morale right now. I mean, already bottom of the tiers and they're down 2-0. I just don't see them coming out hot in this Control.
I tend to agree. And more importantly, I am just excited, Allie, because it means that we got Control on Garrison coming up next. And if you guys know basically anything about Allie and I, we love Call of Duty. And we love seeing high competitive amateur level Call of Duty. And we've gotten both from these teams. I know it's been one-sided in the series, yada, 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 talking point. But it's been an exciting series nonetheless. All of the matches we've seen today have been extremely close, competitive, exciting. Game has started. Let's continue on. Let's get right into this Control, you beautiful ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Game 3. Time for Control. Time for Garrison. I can't wait. War Room, you look so hot. I'm excited to see lights and all of that wonderful P1 caution. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a very tough map. You either win or you don't. That's the end. That's the point, right? That's the end of the sentence for mid-maps. You win this, you still have a chance. You don't, you're done. So they have to come out and they have to start strong.
And right off the bat, we are on board with Glow Frosty, who's been having a series of his life, it seems to us, but this is just another day to him. Like a little peek on Naga. Ooh, beams out of Nagafin right off the bat. Okay. And Subliners answering right back. Almost got not a tick just yet on B. Mid-map Control is on the side of mid-maps. This is already such a fast game of Control as trades are going back and forth. Nothing too serious yet. 26 to 27 lives are still pretty even across the board.
Mid-map's pushing right through the middle of the map. I love this aggression off the start. Decimate can fly out, find the kill. So a couple will fall, but still 25 to 24. So much to be fought over. But at this moment, no ticks into A or B. You guys are seeing the same thing we're seeing. It's a dominant start for mid-maps. They're picking up the kills left and right. Yes, Spark responds. Yes, Subliners Academy finally get themselves onto the B point. But more importantly, they have to continue to shut down mid-maps. Off the start has not been that easy. Spark 2-2. 2-4 for Proloot. Fellow will take down 1 in lights. and Fellow will get shut down in the process. The trade comes in. Saints and Spark combining for 2. They'll almost get the second tick, and it looks like they will. No one else on your minimap around in position for mid-maps to stop them, and they are pushing out. Saints is just working through the spawn, taking out players left and right.
You saw mid-maps give up that B control so easily once they saw that 4-stack, and they're like, all right, let's just set up on A site, but Saints pushed up in their spawn, just having a field day. Like I said, Des looking to find 2, maybe 3, as he starts having a field day of mid-map. I mean, this is so back and forth. Now, A site is very difficult to break. Naga, though, catching Glow Frosty. 17-14, mid-maps is down in lives, but they have a minute left to just hold this A point, but they let Proloot slip past. All up to him to stay alive now, just wait for the cavalry. This could be the downfall in this round 1.
We have to take a look at the live count as well. 13-12, that will start to dwindle. A minute 8, but contested on the point. And Proloot has to stay alive. He needs a big gunfight. He finds it. Second won't be there. Decimate comes in for the challenge. Nagafen on the right side as well, holding a close left angle so they can work together. They will slow the progression and take away all of that tick. Nothing has been gained onto B. What's the play now for Subliners Academy? They need a team wipe to get any chance near this control. 48 seconds to go, and mid-maps are playing this perfectly. They're letting subliners get some map control, but as soon as they get near the point, they're cutting them down and keeping them from getting numbers for a push. Now then finds Spark, Proloot in the back. They'll take down 2. Even trades across the board, 2 down apiece. And now we're back to full strength for both sides. 8-9, 8-8, all tied up in the life count. Fellow takes out 1, tied 7-7. One more good push is all you have for Subliners Academy, and this first round will go to Mr. Mid-Maps.
I wish Proloot would have kept looking at the spawns there, because obviously you just killed 2, turn around, kill 2 more, but mid-maps, that's 3 down for Subliners. Mid-maps is looking fantastic right out the bat, and Naga's 3-7, so imagine if he starts to warm up a little bit more, we could see a little bit of a momentum flip between Subliners and mid-maps.
Well, a very, very dominant, right? I guess that's the word. Very dominant round 1. A convincing win. They retook mid-map. They were able to funnel 2-3 kills, link them together. And with that, they kept Subliners Academy from working together and pushing as a team into the point. And a good retake on site. Play the time correctly, play the lives as well. Round 1 goes to Mr. Mid-Maps on defense. Subliners Academy now will be on that side, and we'll see if they're able to reciprocate similar success.
Definitely seeing some huge plays out of Des. We'll see if that success continues as they go onto the offensive. Subliners, though, looking to get mid-map control. Trades start going out. Proloot finds 1. Draza finds 1. And trades end up going through. And Subliners end up on top. Fellow might catch Saints out in mid, though. That's a huge kill. We do not want Saints roaming mid. Fellow just trying to stay alive on bridge. Unfortunately, unable to. I mean, again, this is so back and forth right off the bat. 27-25 lives in favor of Subliners. Proloot trying to get behind enemy lines, but he does get picked out.
And they're giving a lot of width to this map. Subliners backing up. You can see Frosty and Proloot working the sides. They will both get cut down. So wait a minute. Now you can commit resources to both sides. That's exactly what you should do. If you can win the gunfight on B, they will not, but they're already at A. Draza will hop out. Trying to find kills towards that top catwalk will not be successful. 2 will funnel in. Can't find either. Instead of going for the full take, probably wouldn't have gotten it anyway, but still elects to hop off the point, and now you need to, again, commit your resources somewhere. Frosty sitting on, so it won't be contested. Proloot, Saints working together. Frosty finds the 3rd kill. Numbers start to fall for Mr. Mid-Maps. 17-22 make that 16-22. They're running out of chances to get towards at least 1 tick. They need something. You got 13 seconds. What's the decision making? You can't make it to A. You must go B. Frosty gets shut down. Decimate's still alive. Saints has to reload. He gets cut down. Proloot has been so big when it comes to contesting this point. Finally, they move in. Mr. Mid-Maps are able to get there, but jumping out of the contest, Subliners pick up the kills necessary, and they make it 1-1.
I mean, it was so close there in the end, but it's like they just forgot that Saints was in the middle and just were focused more on the time, because he was able just to pop up and get them right out of the hill. Because, I mean, they were fighting for him for a little bit, and then it's like, oh, no, he's not there. He doesn't exist anymore. We're going to watch him do this one more time. Oof. Fellow unable to do anything in that situation. I wish I would have swapped Draza instead of trying to help get that kill on bridge with an AK-74U, which it can beam cross map, but I feel like he would have been better maybe pushing up into bricks into spawn and maybe trying to get a couple kills that way. But we are 1-1. Subliners back on the offensive here. It's been very back and forth. Nagafen 5 and 13 still hasn't heated up just yet, but again, the game is so close. I feel like we can see a definite momentum change if these guys show up here. Des was another two-piece. Des has just been absolutely having the time of his life on Garrison Control.
That 5 in a row. Decimate's had a stellar day, just an absolute standout, constantly finding 2-3 kills. Make that 6 in a row. One more behind, he won't pick it up. Spark, good positioning and patience. And how much will they kind of rally this into at least a first cab? He needs to stay alive on the point. That's the big thing. Prolute gonna try to move up to radar. Knows one's up here. Can't win the gunfight. Jumps back down. Fellow survives for the moment, but Saints is uncontested. He will get the first tick, barring Nagafen coming into the play. Nagafen is there, and he's gonna work to the back. Finds one, finds two. Will he find the third? He stays alive back into vents, and he at least stops the second tick from going through. Numbers begin to fall back in. Nagafen gets shut down. Spark takes down Draza. Fellow is out of position. Now they move to A, and the reinforcements can begin to siphon themselves out of position. You have B locked down. Prolute basically playing a 1v4 at this moment. Will he stay alive? Not going to happen, but it gives B free reign. They're going to get it locked down. Subliners Academy will fight for another point.
Naga able to double his kills already. He's on 9 and 15. Huge two-piece out of him. Unfortunately, the cavalry was not there to help him stop the mid-map, so it looks like they might get stuck in their spawn for a little bit. As you see, Prolute and Sprat kind of making their way up bricks. Sprat could be an absolute menace if he plays this right, but he's all by himself and he's not able to kill Nagafen. So again, 16 to 15, very close game. They have a minute to work with. Number 2, that's Saints. He's trying to get some spawn kills. He finds one, he's unable to find the 2. He gets picked off. Again, very back and forth gameplay going on. I mean, absolute trades going down in green. Spart makes 2, which is huge, but he has no cavalry to help him back him up. So mid-map's able to get back control onto the A point. They need one good break out of Subliners Academy to take this.
You need more than a break. You need a good couple of kills. Like, you have had no control at top green. You've had no control at radar. Finally, that's 3 that'll help you. And you needed these. You needed these kills. Finally, that's 4 dead. You can get a tick in on to A. They had no control top green. They get it. They get radar locked down. You have a split spawn for mid-maps. They must come together and find the necessary trades. They won't be able to do it. And look how far out everyone is spawning. The only one left up is Draza. He has to come up big. He's not able to do it. Spart with a massive kill. Only a couple more seconds till they close it out. Everyone's trying to contest, but it won't be anywhere close. And that was a massive, massive win. They get it on offense finally. Draza needed to pick up one player on the point. He's not able to do so. And after that kill, after getting control back at top green, you can just keep them locked in spawn. Mr. Mid-Maps cannot regroup enough to be able to move up as a team and push together. And that's exactly what you need to do with your Subliners Academy. You just have to siphon them away from each other.
Absolutely huge play out of Prolute in their mid-map spawn. Even though he didn't get the 2-piece, he still forced Fellow to turn around and call out that somebody was sitting in their spawn, which delayed that push and gave Subliners more time to get into hill and get that second tick. Absolutely incredible patience out of him. This is looking all for Subliners right now as they were able to get that really hard offensive win, and now they just have to defend against mid-maps. Almost get his head saved off there. Yes. Prolute coming in the back though with a huge 2-piece. I mean, Subliners is about to just have their way. Saints on a 3 spree already. 4, excuse me.
We haven't seen a single round, Allie, come down to the kill count, but I feel like we're getting close to that, at least for Subliners. They're starting to heat up. 21 and 15 for Saints. Spart only 1 even, but hey, you got 21 kills. That's good enough. Mid-map's trying to work their way to B. That nade won't connect with anyone. Glow Frosty still up towards top green. Finally, the trade comes in, but Prolute gets one as well, so about dead even on that one. Prolute still alive, watching the cut from back. Caution. 2 will fall mid-map, and look how spread out the gunfights are now. They're not letting anyone from mid-maps get to B, and once the numbers start to go there, that's when you'll start to push reinforcements to fight the fight. But at this moment, Subliners Academy are more than happy just to play gunfight after gunfight, one at a time. as they know they have defense. They can lock everything down. There's 1 kill, make it 2. Decimate takes up Saints. Second tick starting to work through on B. Glowfrosty has to come through lights, has to win this gunfight, will do so. Looking for 1 more. How much can they really withstand?
Gotta win that gunfight now. You cannot let Glowfrosty get you with the XM4 that close. Mid-map, save 20 seconds to get this B site captured. They have 1 push, and that is it. Subliners not looking to give it to them. Garrison trying to get this kill in dark, unable to get it. They have to slide. Now they have 9 seconds. That is a full team fight on the side of Subliners. That is game easy 3-0 for the tied with West, their best team in NA.
Subliners Academy get it done. Didn't look pretty off the start, but hey, who cares? 3-1, 3-0 series win. A win is a win in my book. And it came down to that final flurry of kills. You saw 4 in the feed. And as soon as that team wipe came through, there is absolutely 0, nada, no chance you're going to be able to get to the point. And that will do it. Subliners Academy win it 3-0. That only helps their cause as the best team in North America at this moment outside of Wester. And we will have that debate at some point. But at the moment, I gotta think just map count series-wise, yeah, they probably are the #1 team. They just showed you why. When this team pops off, they start racking up kills left and right and finally trading together. 2 team wipes in a matter of 15 seconds. Fox, welcome back. But this team is scary, man. Every time mid-maps looked like they were in it, Subliners just snapped them out of existence. No chance.
Absolutely. You kind of saw Nagafin limping along throughout most of that map. Double negative. Decimate was a huge help for trying to keep them into the game. You saw many objective-oriented kills, but in comparison to the players on the side of the Subliners, they had 2 players coming into the final round that were above 10 objective kills on their own. So, you know, it's a really tough bout from them, and Subliners just came through and did what they do.
It's the third 3-0 we've seen today, as here's a recap of this series. Subliners Academy took map 1 on Crossroads, the Hardpoint 250-206, very, very close. And then an S&D, completely different story. I mean, a couple of clutches from Glowfrosty. You're looking at a couple of chances for Mr. Midmaps to be able to bring the game back. They're not able to execute. 6-1 win, Subliners up 2-0. And then the Academy team, once again, shows us that they are the #1 team in North America, and at moments where mid-maps look like they have the right momentum, they have the right resonance pattern on this game, Subliners Academy just blew it open. They just found 3, 4, 5, 6 kills in a row as a team. They shut down the life total, and they made it almost impossible to cover any ground through mid-map. Again, just an impressive performance all around, a 3-0 win. Allie, did you expect a 3-0 from either side going into the series? I expected it to be a little bit closer, but before this one kicked off, I know a lot of people were saying, hey, this could be a very quick match.
I had my hopes up, you know, thinking maybe mid-maps would be able to pull maybe their 1 more map pull off of Subliners again, like they did with Westar, but unfortunately were unable to. But I mean, the maps, they showed a little bit of promise. I mean, they were able to catch them off surprise a couple of times, but again, Subliners just showed why they were a top team.
Well, let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule, because tomorrow is, again, where we start to continue to develop these storylines and where things get a little bit more interesting. Orglis and Obtain Esports are up first. Rams and House Tarth following in as the second slot in European region. That's up early tomorrow. And then we have UT Crew built by gamers, an interesting matchup in that one. Subliners Academy again, Wester. That is the match I can't wait to see. #1 and #2 teams going at it for the right of who owns North America, at least in this bracket. Fox, your #1 matchup on here. No, you cannot say Subliners and Wester. Who are you looking at on that series?
Oh, you took the show of the night away from me. You really had to take that one. I'm still looking forward to the opening show, though. Obtained Esports was exciting to watch just this morning. I'd love to see them have another chance.
Allie, and I'm just going to say it, right? Like, Subliners Wester, then arguably #1 and #2 team, and most notable names on both these rosters across the region. Do you think that one is going to be a blowout, or do you think we're going to be looking at, oh, it's Game 5, Wester Subliners, where were you when this went down?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's going to go full Game 5, full series. I have my hopes incredibly high for that matchup. There's just no way it's going to be a blowout from either sides. I am so excited to watch that game tomorrow. As you can see the giant smile on my face, I know you both are excited as well.
And while today was kind of the matches of relegation, these were the matches where teams were struggling to find wins, and this determined whether they live on in the Challenger circuit or whether we don't really see them for a while. Tomorrow is middle of the pack. that is your middleweight fight. Those are teams that are fighting for 3rd through 6th spot. They are fighting to move on to the playoff bracket where they will fight in a single elimination tournament. There is a lot on the line. I think more so tomorrow than really today, because today was just about, can your team pull through? Is there enough morale here to be able to carry you to possibly making it forward in the Challenger Circuit, or will you bow out here? We saw that a lot, but tomorrow, Fox, this is for whether or not you stay in 3rd through 6th or you drop out of 3rd through 6th, and whether you make it to top 2. Who knows how the seeding works at this moment, but do you think tomorrow there's a lot more on the line for these teams?
Absolutely. We got the elimination day rolling up. Just in the next 24 hours, it's going to be an intense fight between these teams and these matches tomorrow. And Allie, again, last quick question before we close this one out. 3rd through 6th, right? You fight on to play in the playoff bracket. Keeping teams alive, giving them a chance to play in that 3rd through 6th spot. Do you think we're going to see anyone dip out of maybe the top 2 conversation and move down to that middle tier? Or do you think that everyone in both respective regions is kind of sitting where they need to be?
No, I feel like they're definitely sitting where they need to be after watching Subliners, especially, and hearing about Wester's absolute domination. There's just no way. I feel like the top 2 teams will definitely stay up there, but it doesn't mean the matches are going to be any less exciting, Spaceman.
I can't wait. I know we have to go to sleep. I hate that humans do that, but tomorrow it means we just got even better matches. I am excited to see them. I thank you all watching today, and I thank you for joining us. It was an exciting day of matches, and more importantly, Subliners Academy showed that they are one of the best teams on the planet in this 2021 CDL Call of Duty Challenger season. I'm excited to see what they can do tomorrow against Wester, but we thank you. We thank you for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early, and we'll see you then.